Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 390. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Sellner.
Hello.
Mark Augustiniak.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. Got a big news week for everybody this week. Some delays, some cancellations. We're going to celebrate the 35th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda and, of course, talk about the State of Play presentation from the week. But first, how are you both doing? This here, episode 390, mullet time.
We all have mullets right now. Just in case you didn't know.
Dude, I'm at a point now where, like, I have to brush my hair, or, you know what I mean? Comb it, whatever you do with hair. And when it's wet and I do that, I can just pull it straight back and do a nice little Kentucky waterfall. I got a nice little dip off the back, like it naturally swoops backwards. And even now, like with the headphones on, you can kind of, the listeners can't, but you guys can see, like we got some hot mullet action. By the time we hit summer and we're out there, you know, putting out the buns, like, boy, be masking it up with a mullet. Do they make masks for mullets?
A hairnet?
What?
A hairnet? I don't know. I don't know. How are you guys doing? What's new in the world of Matt Sellner this week?
Really nothing. I changed my avatar picture on the Switch for the first time ever.
I was off.
I noticed that you both aren't Samus.
Yeah, I went back to Samus at some point, then you changed it, and I was like, well, I feel like I need to change. And then I went through a whole identity crisis where I was like, do I need to be a me? Well, this me doesn't look like me. I can't give it a mullet. I don't understand what I'm doing. I was, I don't know. Now I don't remember what I am on there.
I changed mine to a me.
Your me looks like you. My me does not look like me because the hair can't get dark enough.
Well, I mean,
there's like a lighter brown than what I've got, and if I go darker, it's just black on the me, and then it just looks like I'm, you know.
Yeah, it's always hard for me to try to find like the in between of like blonde and brown.
Yeah,
and like depending on the shade, I have to go with one or the other.
Well, thankfully in Metopia, you'll be able to balance that. Give yourself some Harley Quinn locks. I don't know, Mark. What's happening on your Mark of the Woods?
Currently, I am trying not to have my heart punch out of my chest because I'm now trying like some like low calorie energy drink, like zero sugar stuff.
What are we rocking over here? Let me
The name is very calming and serene. It's called Adrenaline Shock.
Oh, dude, they're super good. Does it taste amazing?
I just went on a whim because Target was doing like a 2 for. Like, you get 2, but it takes $1 off or something.
Yeah.
So, like, the first one I had was just their original one, I guess. It was like a black can.
Is that the black can? Yeah, that's fine.
I feel like it's similar to like a sugar-free Red Bull.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I can get used to it. Now I'm, like, drinking some blue raspberry.
I ain't never seen the blue can. I've had the purple one. The purple one's very good. The purple one tastes like those Welch's berries and cherries fruit snacks, if you know the deal. The purple one tastes like that. The blue one, does it taste like it has sugar? Because the purple one does, which is what I like, is that it don't, but it do.
Like at first, but then the aftertaste, if you're used to like, again, like that Red Bullish flavor, you can sense that after the fact.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. It's more distinctive than obviously the original one. But it's, 300 milligrams. Because, like, I was going to buy Monster again, but then I saw, like, how many calories that is.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's, like, 230.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit. That's, like, depending where you go, that's more than, like, a thing of, like, hot wings. Or something.
Yeah.
So
having all those Coca-Cola with coffees lately and seeing how much is in that, I'm like, oh, yeah, right. I forgot I had made the switch to all that zero crap a couple years back. It's
I almost bought because of you. I almost bought a Coke Energy or whatever, but I don't know. Adrenaline Shock sounded too enticing, like not to try.
No, I really like the Adrenaline Shock. It sucked because I really liked that purple one, but then every time I went to the Royal Farms gas station, they never had the purple one. It's too popular up here. You know what I'm saying? Everyone likes it. Speaking of popular, the State of Play happened this week, and we learned a lot about PlayStation video games. I think this one was short enough that we can kind of just headline it, as opposed to what we did last week with the Nintendo Direct. So we started off with a PS5 upgrade for Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. It's getting all the standard current generation bells and whistles. Then we moved into Returnal gameplay, which I have a box quote here that says, "Wow, this made me want to play this game finally." Quote from one Matt Sellner. You really liked this trailer.
Yeah, I really didn't know what this game was. They kept showing the cinematic stuff, and then there was that cryptic thing at the door, which they leaned into again at the end of this trailer. But at some point, I had to think it was some kind of action-packed running gun thing. I just didn't know how they would do it. But yeah, no, it looks like the third-person Doom almost in a weird way.
Yeah, it was like some Dead Spacey vibes to it, maybe.
The one comparison I saw that was pretty spot on. Somebody said that it's kind of like Vanquish.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Do you slide in this one?
I mean, you can dash.
Okay. I don't want to slide, just for the record.
Come on, sliding is fun.
Turn off Vanquish. I know it's the whole point of the game, which is Vanquish wasn't for me. I'm sad about that. But Sifu, is that a Sifu? Is that how they pronounced it?
Yeah.
I assume so. A kung fu action game coming to the PlayStation 5. Mark, what'd you think of Sifu?
Loved it.
This seemed like it had... I kept seeing the trademark logos all over the screen as this was playing out.
Like, if you're a fan of movies like The Raid, or maybe you've watched Netflix's Daredevil season 1, episode 2, or Old Boy, or anything like that, this is for you. And it's by the people who did Absolver. And from what I was gathered, they kind of convey it in the trailer. I don't remember them specifically explaining it, but it's like every time that you lose, you age.
That's a cool mechanic.
So I don't know what's the limit on that. Probably 3 or 4 times is what I'm guessing before you kick the bucket.
It's 4 cracks in the ranked meter before it resets.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, or actually, I guess there's a little bit of John Wick in there too. But yeah, just that looked really fun. Can't wait for that. Actually, it got me to go to check to see if this was a PlayStation exclusive. Thankfully, it's not. So Epic Game Store wish listed.
There you go. So die 3 times, you get knocked out. Not unlike Knockout City, that game we saw last week in the Nintendo Direct. This kind of Splatoon meets basketball meets Fortnite.
Dodgeball.
It's more like dodgeball.
Yeah. It's probably apt. That's also coming to PlayStation 5, which I think we knew already, but we get to see it in motion. I was gonna say, from Nintendo Direct, that was not a good way to convey what that game was, and this did a much better job. So therefore, I seem if this was a game to play for a free weekend or something like that, I would totally try it out. It seems pretty fun.
Well, I think this is free.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. But it shows you what EA thinks each audience is interested in, which I always find peculiar. You know, they think the Nintendo crowd more wants to see the stupid characters talk about their whatever.
Video game characters playing a game. It just
that was
so
very
cool.
confusing. It was very confusing.
It's so cool.
I can confirm with you, Joe, that I did forget about that game after the State of Play and did not download it or sign up for that beta.
Right. We were watching that, and Matt goes, "Well, if I remember to go to that website after the State of Play, I'll try the beta." And here we are.
Is the beta PS5 only, or
no? It was crossplay
on everything. Obviously, because it's Nintendo. Cool.
We saw gameplay of Solar Ash for the first time. This is the follow-up to, not follow-up specifically, but the next game from Heart Machine, the folks behind Hyper Light Drifter.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool art style. I'm excited for this. I really liked Hyper Light Drifter, and I think this will be worth the wait. Again, gameplay we saw of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
Yeah,
Different
you can run around
than
now.
what we're used to seeing from that. Yeah. Is this a day one Mark purchase?
I've never played a FNAF game. I think I might have tried a bit of the first one just to understand how you flip through the cameras and stuff, and it's weird how much that relies on a mouse to
Oh yeah.
Because you have to put the mouse at the bottom of the screen in order for the screen to pop up to look at the different cameras. And I thought that would be like a button assignment or something instead to hit.
Okay. I remember you got into the lore side of it.
Yeah, so I will definitely watch. watch lore videos as a guilty pleasure, but I don't know.
I could not remember the name of this game, so
Security
as
Breach.
it was coming on, I was like, "Is it that Five Nights got fingered? Freddy's got fived." Couldn't remember.
Tom Green's
at
chasing
all.
you.
Yeah, exactly. Just Rip Torn screaming about water.
Actually, a spooky game with Tom Green chasing you is. I would play it.
Yeah, I would have a music mini game where you have to line up the sausages with the fan.
Oh my god, you can't trip the strings.
Can you walk backwards as fast as he can, like with a key button combination?
And he can see through wooden doors, so gotta be careful.
True. You have to dodge the deer in your LeBaron. Oddworld Soulstorm coming to PS4 and PS5 on April 6th. There was some statement about PS Plus owners get either the game for free or the upgrade for free. I don't know. More gameplay. We get to hear the soothing sounds of Lauren Lanning describing Oddworld and what we're seeing. This looks like, a true next step for what they started with Abe's New World. What was that one called?
New and Tasty?
Yeah. That's out there. It's also out on Epic Game Store. I don't know if same day or not. I didn't check that. We saw gameplay and more of the story for Ken. This is not.
I think it's Kina.
Yeah, thank you. Autocorrect screwed this one up for us. Bridge of Spirits. This is from those Majoni's Mask animated video folk. This game continues to look impressive. Even during the stream of the State of Play, the logo for this, for Kina Bridge of Spirits, looked super crisp and high def. I don't know why. I was very impressed by just seeing that. The way it I don't know. It looked.
This is also wishlisted on Epic Game Store for me.
There it is.
I'm also seeing a similar film, or you could see a similar film in Raya and the Last Dragon. So that's what I kept comparing it to the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
We got a reminder that Deathloop is still coming out.
Thank God, because I forgot from the last time we saw it, and then the time before that, and then the time before that.
We had one very excited Matt Sellner on the live stream there, counting down the days.
Sorry, I was saying I like the song that they did.
No, the song it's good. It's just it's one of those things that suffered because of the delays, and we've seen it so much now that it's just put it out.
That's how I feel about Oddworld.
That too, yeah. I felt the same about Oddworld. I was kind of having I love those games, but seeing that trailer again, I'm like, yeah, it's Oddworld. I got it. I know what it is.
No, but that Oddworld trailer did something for me as someone who's never really played the Oddworld games.
So maybe that's why they do the Deathloop stuff. And then finally, this was actually a surprise. You always got to close out on a banger, and bang they did with the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade happening on PlayStation 5 June 10th. So the original Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to PlayStation 5 on June 10th. If you already own the game on PS4, it will be a free upgrade for PS5. Coincidentally, the game's releasing PlayStation Plus in March, right now, tomorrow. But if you get it via PlayStation Plus, you still need to actually buy the game if you want the free PS5 upgrade later in June. They're also adding all of this new story content. So there's... Matt, you have to fill in the names for me because I can't remember now, but we've got new story content featuring some of the characters who've popped up from Crisis Core and Dirge of Cerberus.
Yuffie's in the main game as one of the party members you meet down the line.
Okay.
The partner she is with is an original character. I do forget his name. And then the different hairstyle Sephiroth at the end was from Dirge of Cerberus, which I never played.
Okay. So that's all out. How do we feel about this one?
I'm excited. I've been looking for a really good excuse to come back to this game. It almost happened last night, funny enough, but I've just decided I'm going to wait to June and just have a good excuse to play it and see what it looks like on PS5. And then, I'm excited for that story content because it looks like it's going to run parallel with the events of remake part or just remake. And you don't get Yuffie until like after I think the golden, or no, you get her before the.
She's optional, right?
I don't remember.
I think her and the other guy.
I know Vincent's is optional. I can't remember if she is or not, but I definitely, like, in my longest playthrough of that game, I got her. So I don't know how optional she is, and I did that without a guide. So I don't know. I don't really remember, but no, this is going to be cool because it's going to maybe give her more backstory than what she got in the original game. And I think it's just more evidence that they are tying in everything together, and I think we kind of thought that at the end of remake.
We'll leave it.
Yeah, I'll just leave it.
Yeah. If that wasn't enough Final Fantasy VII for you, don't worry. Those names that popped up a little while ago, that I think Matt made the case for, and I think we all were pretty aligned that they were potentially, maybe parts 2 and 3 of the Final Fantasy VII Remake saga are actually new mobile games. One is a battle royale third-person shooter, and the other is, I already forgot.
Ever Crisis. It's the it's the remake of Final Fantasy VII, like in the traditional top-down style, but it's going to include, it's episodic, and it's going to include everything from, I think, what they call the compilation, which would be Dirge of Cerberus, Crisis Core, and
even
there was
Advent
a fourth
Children.
one. I was going to say, is it Advent Children? But yeah, I missed the fourth one. But yeah, everything.
Yeah.
This
so
I
that
want to
one's
try.
out this year, and the Battle Royale's next year, is that right?
I thought it was flip-flopped.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the Battle Royale is first. And then,
Sick.
Yeah. Which I guess wouldn't make sense because you probably, even though the OG 7's out there, you probably don't want to go too far story-wise ahead of Remake. Competing-wise, I don't know.
Very, very true. So not a bad little presentation, I don't think, for State of Play.
I was going to say one more thing about integrating that DLC expansion. I expect some kind of Easter egg secret ending thing with 100% completion of that expansion that you will get just a tiny little teaser of what the next main remake game is.
I hope so. Yeah,
because
that would be too.
Like, the more that these names are sounding more like Kingdom Hearts titles, it's like, yeah, I could see like 100%ing something gives you a cutscene because that's just what they do.
I mean, Nomura is very heavily involved, so.
And I think that would align with my prediction.
Yeah.
Good point.
It's all we can see the future when we look forward in January. None of us could predict that we would start to see the shuttering of Japan Studio this year. First this week, we've obviously been talking on and off about different kind of high profile or members of Japan Studio leaving in one fashion or another in the last year. This week, we learned that Masaki Yamagiwa, producer of Bloodborne and Tokyo Jungle, to name a few, announced he will be leaving Sony's Japan Studio at the end of February with a statement, "I'm leaving Sony Interactive Entertainment at the end of this month. I'm going to continue working hard on creating games. Many thanks to everyone." That was about Monday or Tuesday that kind of came out, and there were a couple others in the wake of his announcement. And then we get a Video Game Chronicles story. They've got to get out there with their weekly hot drops. And we get this one citing sources who claim that Japan Studio would soon close. This followed an interview from Jim Ryan with Famitsu, where PlayStation boss Jim Ryan considers all of Sony Interactive Entertainment's worldwide studios to be important, and that Sony plans to continue supporting Japanese PS5 game development. That seemed conspicuous that was like kind of out of nowhere, that Jim Ryan was like, why are we digging our heels in here? And then of course we get the confirmation by the end of the week. Rumors began circulating via the VGC story, and then confirmation of the closure of the studio came by way of a quote first provided to IGN, then updated to VGC. Quote, in an effort to further strengthen business operations, SIE can confirm PlayStation Studios Japan Studio will be reorganized into a new organization on April 1st. Japan Studio will be recentered to Team Asobi, the creative team behind Astro's Playroom, allowing the team to focus on a single vision and build on the popularity of Astro's Playroom. In addition, the roles of external production, software localization, and IP management of Japan Studio titles will be concentrated within the global functions of PlayStation Studios. So that last piece, I guess, kind of makes sense. Because if you look back, I'm going to pull up a list of Japan Studio games real quick. So we can just run through a few. But if you think about a lot of the stuff that we've seen the Japan Studios logo on in recent years, it's been a lot of things that are not theirs. Bloodborne, to be right, like Bloodborne had a Japan Studio because they would do kind of like the final pass through. They'd work with the teams to make sure that it optimized for PlayStation, but they were not necessarily always developing in house. However, there were a lot of internally developed games and things that they've touched throughout the years. So just real quick to run through some of the internally developed, I'm going to kind of just like keep it high level with franchises they were responsible for. Ape Escape. Like, I don't know why we haven't seen a new Ape Escape in so long. They could do so many things with an Ape Escape game. And I think like the Astro's Playroom stuff is cool, but also why didn't you just make that an Ape Escape game, dude? Siren was originally a Japan studio. Patapon, Echochrome. This is all PSP era. Rain, Puppeteer. When we get into the PS3 era, Gravity Rush, and then Gravity Rush 2. No Heroes Allowed. I really like those games. Knack, PlayStation 4's Knack. But they also worked with Level 5 to put out White Knight Chronicles. They worked with From Software for Demon's Souls and Bloodborne, with Crispies for Tokyo Jungle, with Concept and Marvelous to put out Soul Sacrifice on the PlayStation Vita, Freedom Wars. And there's like more and more that I'm kind of missing, like not Jumping Jack Flash. Is that it?
That sounds right.
Wrong? I can't remember if that's the one from them or not. But yeah, man, I don't know. There is a like strong legacy of stuff with Japan Studio that it's a shame that they're not. Hopefully it seems like a lot of those people have already started to find or form their own new things. But yeah, this is a bummer. Super bummer.
Yeah, I remember like I kept seeing more and more like news articles about this, and they keep using like The Last Guardian as like a thumbnail. And it's like, well, you got to remember, gen design exists, so yeah, you're okay. Like eco fans, like everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about.
Well, what about Patapon fans? You know what I mean?
That's true. I have no words for that. I'm sorry.
Ape Escape.
Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead, Mark.
Is Ape Escape more tied with Konami?
No, that was a first party PlayStation Japan Studio joint.
Wasn't he even an All-Star Battle Royale member?
He was indeed. Spike was one of the PlayStation All-Stars.
No, I was gonna say I know Ninja Theory has this like smaller teams or whatever, but like I feel like that was like Xbox's answer to a Studio Japan in a way. And now like, you know, you can never put a finger on, you know, all the different projects Studio Japan was doing, and I thought that was cool, and they kind of had like a swagger with them. If you did see that logo in front of the game, you were like, oh, this might be this new cool weird thing. But it looks like they're just forming it to make it like every other studio that has one or two teams and works on, you know, 1, 2, maybe 3 projects at the same time. So I don't know. Yeah, I wish it was just, you know, Japan studio was the same, but yeah, whatever.
PlayStation has continued to become more of a global brand, and, you know, just them shifting operation and things, pulling a lot of control out of Japan directly is definitely changing things.
What these people even Japan Studio should do is make a game called Wooded Areas of Japan. I'm in.
I looked up that dude recently because he was in Archipel's mini doc on Koji Igarashi, and in the video with Igarashi, he talked to the guy. He was having lunch with the guy who made Tokyo Jungle, and just talking about how cool the game was or whatever, which obviously we all know is very true. But yeah, I looked into him. I don't know what he's been up to lately, but boy, that game's so good. Like, such a weird, cool idea that just, yeah. Yeah, I guess my only final thing of this is, like, what does this mean for Japanese games out of Sony? Or that, like, obviously we have this Jim Ryan quote, but Jim Ryan also told us that they're not working on PlayStation VR, and spoiler alert for two news stories from now, we learned about VR and PS5 this week. So, and this is not me dunking because I love to dunk on Jim Ryan, but like, anytime he opens his mouth, I don't believe or listen to anything he says. He's just always saying the most, you know what I mean? Like, he's made just inflammatory statements that make like no. I get where he's coming from, and I understand, but like to me, like, I don't really trust a lot of what he says. It all just seems like he says what's convenient to the person who's in front of him. And whatever, man. I don't know how to run a business. I don't know what I'm talking about. They're selling units, right? So there's something there. But when he says we're dedicated to Japanese development, like, and then you shuttered Japan Studio. Obviously, he said that because they knew that news was coming out. But what does that mean for Japanese development?
I don't know. Like, I think haven't sales been weak of the PlayStation 5 in Japan?
It's different there too. I mean, it's tough enough to get one here, but over there, the only retailer experience is lottery. So if you want to get one in Japan, you need to. They've been doing digital lotteries, thankfully, but there was one store who did physical lotteries. I think like a bunch of people got trampled, which is like COVID, but also like, yeah, you had to line up and get the whatever. That one I think got blown out of proportion, was a way different whatever. But yeah, you have to digitally line up to do a lottery to whatever, to get a PlayStation 5. So I think there's that, but yeah, do you think that this is an opportunity for Xbox to swoop in and try and reclaim some of that? Because Japanese games have been largely synonymous with PlayStation. When I think about like some of the games I want to play that come out of Japan, I have to keep my PS4 for that. Obviously, I have the PS4. I like the PS4. I don't mean it like that, but I mean like when I think of where I can play those things, like Nier Replicant coming out in a couple months, I might buy that on Xbox because I've been playing primarily on Xbox lately. But you know, with that, like, I couldn't do that with the last Nier, not for a year later. You know what I mean? And I still can't do that with the Persona games or you know what I mean? There's a lot of other. Even these are like big name titles, but like some of the smaller Japanese titles, you just can't get outside of a PlayStation. Do you guys think that there will be a shift this generation in that?
it's going to be so tough. That's a battle that Microsoft's been trying to battle since the original Xbox. I just don't ever see them. I see them maybe getting a bigger piece of the pie, but not the majority of it. I mean, they've made moves. I don't know how Game Pass works or what games are available in like Japan, but like, or if it's universal everywhere. But like, you know, we got Yakuza on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Final Fantasies came on Game. Like they're making strides there. But like, I don't know. I think that the Switch is king there, and I think like the culture is shifting from like these big giant machines in your living room to something more portable. Like, you know, you found the meaning of mobile gaming in Japan, and then with the Switch kind of being the in between, like I think that's where it's going, and I think Sony's just going to kind of keep losing out on that market ever slowly, but you know, it's not going to be tomorrow, but slowly as they continue just to make a big box. And I don't think Microsoft's going to ever take a huge chunk of the pie. I think Japan's Nintendo's place to rule at the moment.
That's good. I wonder if Nintendo then will swoop in and grab any of this talent or try and make a push in that kind of way, because, you know, obviously not Patapon, but I could see something like a Patapon. That would be a perfect Switch game. So I don't know. Unless you guys have anything else on Japan Studio, we'll move into the other bad news of the week from Sony. Public relations representative for Sony Interactive Entertainment told GQ Gran Turismo 7 has been impacted by COVID-related production challenges and therefore will shift from 2021 to 2022. With the ongoing pandemic, it's a dynamic and challenging release date will be confirmed whenever. So GT7 pushed out of this year. Kind of crazy that they already know that in February, but also probably for the best that they're getting ahead of it.
Remember, I think every Gran Turismo gets delayed like twice, so this was just a convenient excuse, in my opinion.
Yes. I'm sure it has made it difficult to... I mean, we have more stories throughout this week of the difficulties of development within last year. It turns out that PlayStation 5's VR headset is coming right along. While not releasing this year, Hideaki Nishino took to the PlayStation blog following some interviews with the aforementioned Jim Ryan, reaching the press to confirm a next-generation VR system coming to PlayStation 5. Amidst a series of titillating text to describe the concept, the paragraphs within the PlayStation blog describe an enhanced version of the existing product that will feature better resolution, wider field of view, better tracking, and better input methods. A single cord will be used to connect the device to PlayStation 5, and the new VR controller will incorporate key features of the DualSense controller found on PS5. Pretty cool. Sounds like they're not going to be using move wands, and ergonomically should be more in line with the DualSense controller. Where are we at on PS5 VR? I know, Mark, you are deep in with the index, and Matt, you've got the PlayStation 5. Mark, does this device intrigue you at all?
Not as much now as it would have before a Resident Evil 8 announcement.
Got it.
7 was the reason why I was even interested in PSVR. If not for that exclusive feature, I probably just would have waited.
So this ever-present threat of a Silent Hill game, when that comes to fruition and it is a PlayStation 5 VR exclusive, where do we sit?
I'm buying a PS5. Like I said before, like that's what it takes. If something like that becomes exclusive, because I can't see that coming to PC. But now this has me like thinking, like, I don't know if they were ever trying or testing VR before this announcement, and like maybe they just couldn't get it right away. So now, like, if Village ever wanted that as a feature, maybe it was talked about, and R&D was just like, nah, we can't do it. So I don't know if they will like retroactively put it in there after the game's out. Like, hey, we have a VR mode now, and like PlayStation had that exclusivity with 7, because like PC version doesn't have a VR option at all, and which is fine, but like I can't see them doing that. At least just right now, it just doesn't seem like a thing that they'll try to aim for. I think they'll probably do more like, focus more on like Astro type stuff maybe, or or whatever. I can't see them going back and adding the VR feature to something like that.
Sure.
Well,
I would hope they have some big bangers lined up for a launch like this. Like maybe an Ape Escape game. Just saying. Maybe if you had like a... Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I can see them doing this. I mean, it's not going to be on PlayStation's decision for what software, is released. Like, they can try to encourage developers to do it, but, like, I think the hard step of making the VR game is already done. Like, I guess, I'm assuming they have the engine, or the engine works with VR just right, so, like, why couldn't they do it for $8 without much work and make it a $20 re-release? Like, the VR version at launch, especially if it's early 2022... to kind of make it close the year cycle of it, because I'm assuming there's going to be DLC for 8 in some regard. That will take you through holiday most likely, and then at the launch of this, say if they make it March or April, Resident Evil 8 Game of the Year edition, you can even charge $60 again for it, or 70 whatever, yeah, and and it's the VR version, or if you already have it, it's a $20 upgrade.
Yeah, I can see that. Matt, with a PS5 and a DualSense sitting within arm's reach of you, are you eager or intrigued by this VR headset?
Depends on the price. I mean, I always like PlayStation's strategy of undercutting all the other major VR things. I mean, it's a couple weeks out, but I have a new PC rig that is going to be very capable of running any of this VR software. So, or hardware, I should say, but if it, it's constantly like $1,000 for the whole setup and I need the room, I know the PSVR can work with a little bit more limited space, and it's a little bit cheaper, but one, price, two, I want to see what that resolution is, because that was kind of a killer a little bit on the PS4, that the what do they call it, the screen glass, that was like a good term for it or something. I forgot what people who play with it called it, but that it was just a little bit blurry. And then also software. Resident Evil 8 is going to be cool. Guess who's not going to be playing Resident Evil 8, especially in VR? So,
right.
You get more experiences, like that Squadrons game from Star Wars. That would be cool. They throw out another dumb Batman thing. The dumb little $10 to $20 purchases, I'd be all about. But, I don't know. It depends what software is available.
Yeah, that's a good point. Would you play a Twisted Metal game in VR?
Fuck yeah.
Would you watch a Twisted Metal TV show?
Potentially.
I have great news for you. Variety confirmed this week, the beginning of the week, that PlayStation Productions, in partnership with Sony Pictures Television, are developing a live-action series adaptation of Twisted Metal. The series is described as an action comedy based on an original take from the writers behind Deadpool and Zombieland. That's right, you know them, you love them, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. Good household names. I don't know who the hell they are. I could poo-poo on some things pretty quickly, but I am excited about this. I'm excited to see who they cast as Hammerhead, because I can't wait for that text from Mark. That whatever morning that... No, come back.
No, I got to do that later on, Mark. Hold on.
Oh, wait. I just realized we're doing this now. Here.
What?
All right, I'm gonna throw out. We got to do this quick because we have so much show. So this has to be a fast. I'm gonna give you a name of a Twisted Metal character, and I want your gut reaction. Who plays them? Ready?
Oh God.
Spectre.
I don't even know who half these characters
I was going to say,
are
I
now.
have to do a quick Google. Oh shit! I typed in Spectre and the fucking James Bond film came up.
Is Spectre the
You
one
guys
with the
aren't big
motorcycle?
on your Twisted Metal lore?
No. I played 5 minutes of Black, realized how bad I was at the game, and then turned it off.
Mr. Grimm.
Is that the motorcycle one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's like Rob Zombie.
All right. Did I say Grasshopper yet?
No.
Do we remember Grasshopper?
No.
All right, let's just go with the big hits then. How about Darkseid?
Which
Sorry.
one? I just don't know, dude.
Man, let me tell you what, the marketing team for this show has their work cut out for them.
Clearly,
you just
I'm
have to
a
give
Sony
me a
fan.
second just to I probably know the car, but I don't know what they look like.
Truck, big big 18-wheeler truck.
I think I know the vehicles more than I know the characters, so that's also a problem. Also, Hammerhead's dumb face is just burnt into my retinas.
All right, well, who's going to play Hammerhead?
I don't care. They're going to die in one episode anyway. They're not going to be on long. You could throw in whoever. It could be Brad Pitt. I don't care.
How about, well, then let's go with who's Sweet Tooth?
That's Vin Diesel.
You
Vin
know,
Diesel, Sweet Tooth?
I was going to say Vin Diesel as well. Now I want to say Jack Black.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And then you gotta cap this one. Who's Calypso? Because I assume they're gonna do if they don't do the cool Calypso thing where they like do this whole monkey's paw tournament thing. Who's your Calypso? Scary, spooky, deal with the devil guy.
Oh my God, I don't know his name. It's has anyone here seen Repo?
Repo.
The genetic opera.
No.
I believe it's the character named Grave Robber, but he always gave me like a Calypso vibe. He's like some just weird pale dude with like long hair, and he's just, he does some like back alley shady deal stuff. I haven't seen the opera in forever, so like I don't know how good it looks up to. Calypso has like a bunch of different looks too, right? Like, isn't he like he has long hair in one of the games, but the other ones, isn't he more like a burnt demon face kind of thing?
Yeah,
Mads Mikkelsen.
As who?
That's Calypso.
All right, I could do it. I was
like
going
that.
more of a Paul Dano. If you guys have ever seen Prisoners. Prisoners? Is that what it is? I don't know. It's a Hugh Jackman movie where his kids get kidnapped. Yeah, you know the one?
He's isn't he going to be in the Batman?
He is going to be in the Batman. He is the Riddler. Yeah. All right, well, a Twisted Metal TV show. It's on its way. We'll see how I hope it just happens. I'm tired of I feel like we've had so many TV projects from video games or movie projects from video games that just are eternally in development, not unlike the upcoming Halo television show, which we found out this week is no longer coming to Showtime, instead coming to Paramount Plus, a new streaming service that is, for some reason, in existence. And there's also, just a side note, a Beavis and Butthead movie coming to that, in addition to the Beavis and Butthead revival that's happening later this year on Comedy Central. The revival, I don't know how much you guys know or keep up with this. Beavis and Butthead revival. Beavis and Butthead are now grown, middle-aged men with children of their own who are going to high school. And then, I don't know what the movie is. They didn't say anything about the movie. But I imagine the movie will be another traditional Beavis and Butthead teenager experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then the TV show will be them.
Like, they have kids, but it looks exactly like old Beavis and Butthead, so you can't tell if it's new or old.
I kind of hope that this... Because there's no way they can do music videos. People don't make music videos anymore. I guess they do, but that seems like a nightmare. But I hope that they're just... Focused, yeah, I hope that this time around they're just judging TikTok videos or something. Like, that's got to be the thing. It's just them doing that. Anyway, Halo, Paramount Plus, next year, whenever it releases. And along with streaming services you don't have, Peacock is going to debut the NBC-ordered 13-hour-long episode season of a new Frogger reality game show. Announced Tuesday, this new game show will have contestants competing across 12 different obstacle courses dubbed crossings. Specifically, per the press release, contestants will, quote, dodge treacherous traffic, leap over snapping gators, and hop over hungry hippos to conquer the course. The cast and call listing is looking for U.S. citizens with a valid passport who can swim. Are you guys going to sign up to be a contestant on the Frogger game show?
I was looking at the page for like a second, but like I think it's a little it's not as clean cut as it looks. Like, it seemed a little ridiculous. I'm like, no.
Is it more like Wipeout? Is that what it's like looking at? Like,
That's
like
the
you're
vibe
meant
I'm
to
getting
fall.
from it.
Yeah. I don't have a passport, so that's my issue.
Well, you can go get one now.
That's my issue. And also, careful about what you say about not having Peacock. Remember, starting this pay-per-view, WWE Network is being folded into Peacock, so all those network subscriptions are going to become Peacock members. Remember that.
How could I forget? Is that what you gotta? Huh? Wow.
It is a Peacock. Yes, it works out because I think the network is $15 and Peacock's $10. I think it ends up being a little bit cheaper with their premium. So, but yeah, the network being folded. WrestleMania exclusive to Peacock now, not the network.
What I would recommend is wait until the full season of AP Bio is out, sign up for a free trial, watch it all in a sitting, and then cancel the subscription. Because who needs Peacock? And who needs Anthem? Apparently not Electronic Arts. First reported by Jason Schreier via Bloomberg this week and then confirmed in a blog post to BioWare's website, Anthem Next has been canceled. The post in the BioWare blog cites the difficulties of remote work and the impact of productivity and the initial plans they had for what was being dubbed Anthem Next. Ultimately, the blog post reads that resources are going to be better spent focused on Mass Effect and Dragon Age for the studio. How do we feel about this one? I know that we kind of... I don't know. Anthem seemed like it never got a shot, and I know that when the announcement of Anthem Next happened, I know, Matt, you were specifically kind of like, I'm curious, but with it being canceled, are you going to jump into the existing product?
No,
not at all.
No.
And Mark, you played a bit of it.
Yeah.
Was Anthem Next ever on your radar?
I didn't know that was the name they were going with. I thought it was still just going to be called Anthem, but I get why you would want to change the title up a bit. Yeah, it was never high on my list to play, but I was still curious to see how it was going to turn out at least.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I like that they were trying something different, but chasing that Destiny thing, and Anthem also, if you remember, had that crazy roadmap with all the stuff, and literally within weeks of release already missed the roadmap and then just ignored that the roadmap ever existed. It was the first game to kind of have that big what are you guys doing?
That's another case of where they did too much marketing way ahead of time to feel to overcompensate. They had a mini movie directed by Neil Blomkamp or whatever.
Oh, Blomkamp. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to say it. Sorry for butchering it, but they had that going. I'm like, dude, the game's not even out yet. Calm down.
Yeah,
this money's going to wrong places.
Yeah, give it more time to bake. It's a shame, but are either of you excited for the next... I'm going to stop. Never mind. I was going to say for the next Mass Effect or Dragon Age, but I think I know the answer to that. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this. Would you rather see another Mass Effect and this Dragon Age game, or a new Anthem?
Mass Effect.
I think they do. Yeah.
This genre's too crowded.
Wow.
This genre's too crowded.
Anthem's right there, and then Matt's like, oh, let me take this shotgun to your already bleeding corpse.
I'm just saying. I think I said it a year ago when they announced this. I'm up for a redemption story. They can pull it off, but the space is just too crowded. There's too many franchises that are already established that didn't need a reboot.
True. Yeah, there's a lot of games that could be made, that should be made. Is there another example of an Anthem style game? Maybe I think back to Paragon, maybe, or something that just kind of fell short lived in this way.
That Amazon game that came out for 2 months and they got fucking canned.
What was that?
I forget the name of it. It was over the summer.
Huh.
Literally came out. It was some kind of bad hero shooter, and I think it was 2 months and done.
Battleborn?
No, it wasn't Battleborn. But what was that what was that battle royale from Cliffy? Was it Cliffy B?
Yeah. Shoot, Ben liked it a lot. Radical Heights.
Yeah, the one that had potential before.
The one that had a working bicycle in the game. If they could, you know why that failed? They didn't put skateboards in it. Had they put skateboards in it, day one, it would have had, yeah. Another game that has not been canceled yet, but this thing is just hanging on. Paradox Interactive announced in its year-end report the delay of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which, again, another one like the delay of Gran Turismo 7. It's like, it's very early in the year for this to slip, but this already got slipped out of 2020 and into 21, and now right away we're into 2022. The quote exactly says, "This also affects the development of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, where we communicated a delay during the third quarter of 2020. We have now chosen to postpone the release of the game further, and we will not be launching the game in 2021. We have also decided that Hardsuit Labs will no longer be leading the development of Bloodlines 2, and we have started a collaboration with a new studio partner to finish work on the game. This has been a difficult decision, but we are convinced that it is the right way forward to do the game justice." The more time they go, I keep seeing like Vampire the Masquerade games pop up on Switch, these like little visual novels and stuff that I'm always like, should I play? Nah. And then, I don't know, the more time that goes on, the less interested I am in this game.
I was about to say the same exact thing.
I was really intrigued by it when it first came out. I think they have a talented writing staff behind it. It seems like a cool to revive that idea, but I don't know.
I don't want to say something that's not true, but I think this is one of the studios that, you know, an ongoing thing that happens in the gaming industry now. Like one of the studios that had like the sexual harassment things, or I think that happened earlier, like 2 weeks ago or something like that with this studio. So I think that probably went into it. So two things with the delays here, that, you know, the early out of the year delays. One, is it because of crunch? I'm going to assume that's probably it, because they just know, like, you know, if they got it done in 9 months, there's going to be too much of crunch, and you may as well just give them time to relax. But two, if they did finish the game, do you think there's any potential that they would move back into 2021, depending on what the release slate looked like?
You could. I could see that, and I could see them doing that. Yeah, potentially. But I think crunch is a good... I think it's good insight. I hadn't considered that, but yeah, the more studios or teams that can get away from the idea of crunch is a good thing. And I think also in this particular case, the fact that they shifted the lead development studio on this, probably they have a good idea project timeline wise, like, oh, in order for us to get this done, we have to do this. That's probably easier to, you know, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see if they can bring it back and bring back my excitement. Mark, did they bring back your excitement for Capcom's Ghosts and Goblins with this week's release of Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection?
Before playing it.
Oh.
It's a ride. I'll say that.
Yeah. So this is a brand new Ghosts and Goblins video game. This is not a remake. This is like all new all the time.
I mean, it does pay a lot of nods.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it is a new game. A lot of like what I don't know how long I played it for, because, you know, Switch and can't really track.
Yeah, we'll
time.
check back in a week and a half.
But it was probably at most like maybe a little over an hour.
Okay.
Like something like that. But I was taking notes just going through the whole thing, because I was having some suspicions. So I just wanted to like just have like a little paper trail of just how things were going versus how I feel and think about it. But like, so before like getting deep into like the game's like mechanics and stuff, I will be that person to kind of like judge like a presentation of a game. And most of these are probably just nitpicky, or you can just like gloss over it, whatever. But it's just hard to ignore at the same time. So I feel like it has to be acknowledged in some way. Like the first thing that you see when you boot up this game is the title screen, obviously, but it is covered by like a darkened tone with a text that pops up asking you if you want to view the privacy policy.
Yeah, well, that's important.
Usually, you scroll through it and you're like, yes, I've read it, blah, blah, blah. It's not even that.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, that's the first thing. It's like, maybe just because it's your first time booting it, it might do that. I don't think it'll do it on like subsequent times.
Sure, but that's still like...
And I was like, okay, no, but, let's move on. And this is where I was like, okay, I think this game is trying to be like a little too cute, like with itself. And, I guess it's all just a design choice. It doesn't really make or break a game, I guess. But I noticed it when you're choosing your difficulty. And it's like, that's one thing I think in games that you don't need to add like any kind of flavor text or whatever. I think you just need to be clean cut and straightforward with that so you know what you're getting yourself into. So I wrote down the descriptions of each of these difficulties. And I just want you both to see if you can understand what these mean if you're a first-time player.
Oh boy, did they commit the cardinal sin? Go ahead.
So, like, it starts with the hardest difficulty, like, highlighted, which is called Legend. And it says, make ready, for this is Ghosts and Goblins. You will die, yes, but so too will you bask in glory. The gauntlet has been thrown. You fearless few, come play with fire and get burned. I don't know what that means.
Play
like,
with
I
fire.
get.
Does that mean you start with a torch?
I mean, I get it's the hardest difficulty, so it's like, yeah, there's high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
But just say it's the hardest difficulty, like, or like at least break it down on what that really means. Then the next one's night. Take heart, humble warriors, haunted by the pain of defeat. Perhaps you can yet claim your revenge if you're able. Come. Next one is Squire. To those uninitiated adventurers, welcome. Test your mettle here first if you wish to have a ghost of a chance.
Okay, that kind of is... That at least tells you... If you haven't
sounds
played
like
Ghosts and Goblins before... this one is the most straightforward so far. If you haven't
This
played
one sounds
before,
like it's normal, right?
Yeah.
And the other ones are like hard and hardest or something.
Yeah.
And then the easiest one is Page. Untested apprentices. Blessed with immortality, you won't be given up the ghost. Many mysteries will remain such, but it may be you're content with only a taste. And like these texts take up the like entire like bottom of the screen, and it's just like I don't know, like it just threw me off. Where it's just like just say easy, medium, hard, whatever, and just tell me what the penalties are with each one. Like,
did you try any of the different ones? Like, could you notice a playstyle difference?
So I started with Squire because that seemed like the most balanced route to take. And what's cool is that like you start with a choice. You get to pick your first area. So like it splits into like a tree. So you can either start with the graveyard or the execution grounds.
So those are the original stages from... One's the original game, and the other one I think is the Genesis game. Was it Ghouls and Ghosts?
Yeah, something like that. So I was like, okay. So I started with Graveyard, and you have a timer. It's always counting down from 7 minutes. And I was like, okay, I don't really know why you need to add this, but that's just me with time. Cool feature. There are now checkpoint flags throughout the level. Because if anybody's played any of these other games, you know how difficult these games can be. They are very punishing. And this is no different. Right out the gate, they do not give a fuck where you come from. They, like... Yeah. It just felt like every single thing in this game is like a troll. It's just like just to really screw you over, no matter what. It feels relentless.
Well, the fact that the things rise from the ground beneath your feet to attack you, like even in the original arcade, like that
now zombies even come out of the walls, and they take their time, like, crawling out to fall down. So, like, you have to worry about that, too. After, so you can die as many times as you want, and you can either restart from the very beginning or restart from that checkpoint flag, whatever, and then, like, kind of go
because I think
from there.
the original, it's been a bit, I mean, I've been playing it recently on the Mister, but not, like, enough that I commit to memory. I think the original, you only have a limited number of lives. And even, like, dumping in quarters doesn't save your, you know what I mean? Like, you only have so many continues or whatever.
Yeah, you usually have to, like, start over from the beginning every time, too.
Yeah. So that's a good addition to this, that you can just kind of keep looping from the same checkpoint. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I think that was totally needed. And I was like, okay, cool. After you die a few times, you will now get an option to restart from the checkpoint, but at a lower difficulty.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I can understand this. But, like, I'll get to that in a second. I can't remember if the originals had bonus stages, like secret stages you could find throughout the levels.
I don't know. I never played enough of it to...
Well, I found one by accident. It wasn't, like, I didn't even pay attention to it because there's so much going on.
There's definitely, like, branching paths and things like that, high and low, but yeah.
So, like, this giant zombie was coming down the steps, and after you take it out, if you go a little further, you trigger this tombstone above you falling, and it puts a hole in those steps, and then, like, a kind of like a weird dark portal appears, and you can jump into that. And it's just like I assume they're all different, like, little tasks you have to do. This one, I just had to survive for 10 seconds as enemies went around. And then it'll drop a random, like, loot for you, whether it's just, like, bonus points or a power-up or something. And then it'll kind of push you forward a little bit, like Mario style, like, advancing a level a little bit so you can, like, skip a little portion. I was like, that's, alright, that's cool. So I did end up lowering the difficulty mid-game. And this is where I just feel a little tricked. I feel like this game gives you a false sense of like ease. I don't know how to describe it. So I haven't tried the harder one, so I don't know, like, I feel like the only thing that makes this game easier is, like, maybe how many hits it takes to kill a boss. Because
what about you? Because in the original, like, you take a hit, you lose your armor. You take a second hit, you're dead. How is that in this?
So, only based on the two difficulties that I did, Squire and Page, it is more than 2 hits. Like, your helmet and chest is, like, one piece, your arms are one piece, and your legs are one piece. So you do get, like, a couple chances. I think you get, like, 4 chances total before dying.
Okay, that's better than, yeah.
So I was like, alright, cool. But the way this game is so brutal, you lose all of that in, like, maybe 5 seconds. Like no matter what, you can still kill the enemies super easy. Like, you know, like, all the minions, they usually take 1 or 2 hits depending on, like, what it is and depending on their weak spots and whatever. Like, the traversing in the game, like, everything in the game seems like it makes sense, but none of it matters because your character, you're awful. Like, your movement is just so stiff and not fluid at all that it clashes with the rest of the game. And that, to me, is, like, the biggest obstacle of, like, to this game is it just sucks. It doesn't feel good.
It never felt good originally.
Right.
But, like, do you feel like you can kind of learn what it wants you to do? Because if you go back to the original Castlevanias, they're very stiff. And Simon, you know, you have to commit to each jump and you can't do certain things simultaneously. But when you learn how to do it and you adjust to it, you know, Castlevania is a very beatable game. Does it feel that way in this, where, like, you could learn it? Or is it just, like, really bad?
Like, I can see what the levels want you to do and when to do it. Like, you know, when you should run to a thing, when you should jump. And, like, if you don't have, like, a speedrunner mentality, you're not going to have a good time with this. Because, like, no matter what, you know what to do. The fact that you can't do it because of the limitations of your character and your movement, it just doesn't seem feasible. It's like they wanted to retain their roots with this game. Like, yeah, we want to show that we're still like the old games, but we are updated and new. It's like, yeah, checkpoints and, there's other features they added, but it just feels like it just doesn't matter if you're just like a 2-ton piece of crap trying to avoid flies and you can't move anywhere. Like, there's parts where like there's these vines that are coming out of trees and they're on a timer, so you have to jump up those. And, I made it, but then you go a little further and then like this vine becomes like a slide. And then you have to try to jump off of that and land on a thing, like on another platform within this amount of time. And you don't jump far either. So it's like you're barely making it no matter where you go. And jumping vertically, I think, makes a lot of sense. Like, you're kind of good in that field. But, like, you don't run great. I thought you could maybe at least jump higher or run a little faster with less armor. I thought that would have been a cool feature. Or, like, maybe unlock a feature to, like, double jump or, like, sprint. Like, if this was any other character in this game, I think this game would be fine. Like, you could even be Simon and feel a little more fluid than Arthur. And I don't think I'm exaggerating after playing as much as I did with it. Like, I tried, like, 3 different levels just to try different types and obstacles just to see, like, what you can do. Yeah. And just moving Arthur isn't fun. And
yeah, it never was in the original, so at least they kept that true to its roots. How about the art style?
I was gonna say, like, I actually like playing it. Looking at it in the game versus a trailer. I like it. I think the art style is great. I like it. It's cool to watch everything animate the way that it does. It kind of gives you some like Rayman Legends vibes or like Rayman Origins. Yeah. Especially, and like even with like collecting, like there's some like little fairies that you have to collect. They're called like umbral fairies, I believe. And you get enough of those, and those are basically like your skill points because there's an umbral tree that you put these fairies into, and they unlock different umbral like magic spells and abilities and stuff. But like a skill tree, you have to buy that one first in order to unlock the other ones. So like I had like a lightning magic attack and like a fire magic attack, and you have to hold in the attack button to charge it, and like a wheel will like charge up around you, and then you do it, and it's just on a cooldown, so you can use it as much as you want.
That's cool.
But more than half the time, you're not going to hit anything with it. The lightning one shoots like in a cross formation, and you can't do it midair. You can only do it right on the ground. And so it's kind of hard to aim with it. So like your time is going to be off because everything else is just constantly moving around you like it's a bullet hell or something. The fire one, you just have 2 little fireballs around you, and it just follows you as you're running, and it'll just hit whatever is in its path until they go away. These don't work on bosses, really. A lot of them will even tell you that, like, hey, this only works on, like, minor enemies. It's like, okay. You're just better off not using it, honestly. I think if you get the knife, that's still, like, the best power-up from, like, before, because that shoots the fastest, and you can turn on an option to, like, rapid fire just by holding it in. It's like, that's cool. You can even slow down the game. So there's like a metronome thing. You go from like, it changes it to like, it probably reduces the game speed by a fourth of what it is. So like it slows down the in-game timer as well, but like your movements and the enemy's movements and everything. And even with that, I was still having an awful time. I thought I could maybe change the difficulty like permanently in my save, but no, you can only, because I picked Squire, it's only going to be Squire unless I start a new game with Paige instead. Oh, wow. Going all the way through. I was like, I'm not retreading this ground. Yeah. Again, after, like...
Do you feel like continuing to tread the ground laid in front of you? Or are you just done with this at this point?
I think, after the last boss I did, I think I'm just pretty much done with it, because I had to, I had to scale... I had to scale these obstacles going vertical because lava was following me. At the same time, I have 3 fire dogs. Each have their own attack patterns, just tearing me to shreds. I mean, they're all blowing fire in different ways. Like, one is pouncing wherever you are. One is just doing a straight-up flamethrower. The other one is just running in the air, dropping little fire shits on you. and then you make it to like the boss area, and it's them. They become merged together to be Cerebus, and then you have to, kill that, and then it splits apart into the 3, and then you have to take them out, whatever. And like they all move super fast and more agile than you, just like everything else. And I died like maybe like 30 times fighting that thing. Ugh. And at one point, it even gave me a tip on how to defeat the boss. I was like, dude, not 20 kills in and now you're going to say something? No. I don't know. Like,
I'm incredibly intrigued by this.
Like, I was having such a hard time on the easiest difficulty. I do not know what the difference is when they give these difficulties. Like, it did, like, some of the bosses felt like they could die in maybe, like, 10 hits or so. I was like, all right, that does seem a little easier, because that was obviously doable. But, like, as far as, like, traversing a level and, like, dealing with enemy types, that is no different. And to me, traversing in that game is the hardest part of that game. So, like, it just sucks that, like, everything else is so cool and feels up-to-date and modern with, like, gameplay and quality of life improvements. And it's like they just they dropped the biggest ball with how your character moves. I feel like, to me, that's the biggest deal.
I don't know. Now I want to go back to the original and see what I can do with that, because I've been playing a lot of that Batman for NES still, and that game is brutal. And I got to a point where in that game there are these mutants that come at you, and you can kind of watch all enemy patterns, and you kind of get the idea. You know when to duck and punch Todd Howard. You know when the little robots that go in a little pattern go the way they go. There's these mutant guys that come in the sewers, and they jump in a way that you can't quickly react and get out of the way. Like, there's no way to, like, get under their arc. Yeah. But I've gotten to a point where I'm, like, used to that, and I can get, like, I sit down. There's no saves in this game, and there's no password system. So it's either beat it or don't. So I've been playing through it, and, like, I will get consistently up to, like, the 3rd. I think that there's 6 levels total. I get partway through the 3rd. I think most recent run I did, I got to the boss of the 3rd stage. And then I was like, I did the boss a couple tries, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to go eat dinner or something. But I feel like I've just recently in the last month had a renewed patience for some of those old style games. And I wonder if I will like this or not. I don't think I will, but I still like
yeah, like the levels and like the way, like how hard they are, I don't have a problem with like the way enemies can like kill you at any point. Sure. I welcome that challenge. Like, but I feel like it's fair when you feel like you actually know that you have a chance to avoid stuff. Like, I know like the early Mega Man games were a little stiff, but at some point, just because of the way you can run and jump, you feel like you have a chance to avoid a lot of things. And like even Batman, like you can like wall jump and stuff. You feel like you have more movement and a little bit more.
This game sounds like it's nothing but that mutant from Batman over and over again, where you're like, why? No, this is not fair.
Yeah, like you run at a turtle's pace and you jump maybe only like 2 inches high off the ground. It feels like, and it just feels like you should be able to do more, since they did so much more with that game. And just $30, I don't know. Kind of wish I could refund it.
Yeah, and that's just out on Switch right now for $30. It sounds like a pass across the board.
I mean, if you're a fan of those games and you know how to like, you know all the tricks and know when to like duck, dodge, and all that stuff, sure, you're gonna love it. But I feel like this came at a time where people aren't really familiar with that series now, and it's gonna be a rude awakening.
Did you grab the free Ghosts and Goblins arcade thing in that Capcom? Did you try that at all yet?
Yeah, and like of course, like that one I knew going in. I was expecting to not be as great with it because at the game of that time, you learn to expect its limitations with how a game is, how it works, how it moves. So I was given a little more leeway, like a little more forgiveness with it.
Do they feel similar? That's my, do they feel like they accurately did that, or do they do it better or worse in this new Resurrection?
It feels the same, and not in a good way, the way you move. It feels exactly the same. And I'm just not as... but it's in like the wrong ways, I feel. Yeah. I don't know.
I was gonna say, like, were they? I feel like this is just like a modern play at getting like the Cuphead, Blasphemous, Dark Souls audience, from an old franchise that has some name recognition.
Yeah, I can probably see like the the Cuphead Dark Souls thing for sure. It made me want to play Dark Souls, honestly, just because I know I can move around better in that. Yeah.
Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection. There it is. Well, maybe we'll talk a little bit about games that made us want to play other things a little bit after the break. When we come back, we've got news on Tony Hawk, the future of Digimon, and a peek back at something that's now 35 years old. Right after this. On February 21st, 1986, the Famicom Disk System received a little game that we would know as The Legend of Zelda, but originally released as Zeruda no Densetsu. And this week, to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the game, the three of us have all played 35 minutes of the original release. I played the Disk System version. I was worried about doing it because I was like, if we're just giving ourselves 35 minutes, the original Hyrule Fantasy only has load times, so that's an added factor for, us already playing for a limited time. But I'm going to be honest, I felt like my 35 minutes was spent. By the end of it, I was constantly like, I wonder, did I forget to set a timer? Like, I did not feel like it was like about to, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like I was playing for a really long time. So I'm going to ask you guys, so where did we all play it? Did you guys do the NES style on Switch?
Yes.
Sorry, I think I cut off. Yeah, that's where I played it. The NES little thing on Switch with the Pro controller.
Nice.
I used Pro, then I switched to the SNES controller.
Nice. So how many, by the end of the 35 minutes, how many Triforce pieces did you obtain?
So that's a fat 0 over here.
Got 0 from Matt, 2 from Mark, 1 from me. How many dungeons did you enter?
That's a fat 0 for me.
3.
I entered 1 and finished 1, obviously, because I got the 1 piece. I stumbled into 5 and 8 and couldn't make progression because I didn't have the raft. And then I got to 2 right at the end of my 35 minutes. Which items did you obtain throughout your run?
Almost not even a sword for 4 minutes. And then bombs caused an enemy drop them.
That's typically how you get them unless you buy them, yeah. Mark?
Sword, bow, even though I couldn't use it.
Yeah.
Bombs, boomerang, which turned into magic boomerang.
Yep.
And candle.
I think I had the boomerang and then got the upgraded blue boomerang, magic boomerang, bombs, bow without an arrow, and blue candle. And sword, obviously. Which was the first item you bought, if you bought an item?
Heart piece.
I accidentally bought something one time. And then probably the medicine from the secret shop with the old woman.
Yeah, the red one, the red potion thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Did either of you win any money?
I did. That's probably the only progress I made.
Nice. You found the.
Are you talking about that cave where it's like pick a rupee? No, yeah. I lost 10.
How much did you win, Matt?
40.
I lost 40, so you got my 40, I guess. How many heart pieces did you end your progress with?
3. Well, I'm like 3 hearts. Sorry, 3 hearts.
Yeah. 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait, how much health did I have left, or how many total hearts did I just obtain?
I get total hearts. Did you have?
Yeah, I think 6.
Okay. Yeah, I had 5 in the end. What did you feel when your timer went off?
Relief.
I was a little upset that I didn't get to finish the third dungeon in time. Because I was right at the boss, but I ran out of bombs. So I couldn't finish it as fast as I could.
Is the third one the scorpion guy?
Third one is the four-headed plant.
Okay.
It's like 4 piranha plants, whatever.
Yeah. Matt, you say relief, and I also noticed that before you clocked how long it took you to get the sword. This implies to me you were watching your timer the whole time you were playing. Is that accurate?
Well, I got to look at the timer a lot between each death. So, I mean, technically, yes.
Do you feel like knowing you had limited time made it more difficult?
No, because I think I would have turned it off after 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. You did nothing about this? You didn't enjoy any of it?
I don't know. I feel like I walked to every part of the map I could walk. I could not find anything. I don't know why this is called The Legend of Zelda when Zelda's not even mentioned when it could be called The Legend of Merchants, because every potential fucking cave is a goddamn merchant. Like, I got excited when I found a new cave, went in, merchant. Found another cave, ooh, here we go, merchant. Found hidden steps underneath an enemy, merchant. What the fuck?
It's because you have to let the title screen go, and then there's your story.
Yeah, it's true.
But then, like, I don't know, the other thing was, like, the one time I thought I was making progress, when I found, like, when I went into the one spot, then the old man was like, hey, take this note to the old woman. I was like, all right, here we go. She's going to give me some advice on where to go. Merchant. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, like, the sense of exploring and stuff is a lot of fun. I mean, all right, so I guess I don't know if the audience knows, but this is like my first time ever playing the original Legend of Zelda. I played probably just under an hour of the SNES one. Now I can't remember the name of it.
Link to the Past.
Yeah, Link
Zelda
to the Past.
3.
But like, I don't know, like I like totally missed the cave because Link was just facing up when you like drop in, so I just went up. I'd like. Do you even realize the sword? I pulled a fucking like Bloodborne or Dark Souls moment right there. Just missed the very obvious thing. And so like the first 4 minutes, I was running around with no weapon trying to find one. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's like I feel like I was making some progress, and then I would just find a new cave and just be a merchant. But I feel like I was all around. Like I was in like the little like the mountain area. I've got the advice to talk to the dude at the grave, but I didn't know where the grave was. I got trapped in the Forest of Illusion?
That's Mario World. I think it's just Lost Woods.
Lost Woods? Yeah, I got lost in Lost Woods for about 3 minutes before I realized it was looping. And I was like, oh, right, this is the thing. This is the thing in Zelda games. Yeah, I don't know. I made progress, but I made no progress. I just couldn't figure out. I don't know. I must have missed a spot because I could not. I was like 17 minutes in was when I got the advice about the grave, and I was like looking for that grave from that point on. That's what led me to like the mountains up top where I found no more advice. Where it was like, hey, go. There's a secret in the tree at the dead end. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, went into that tree and it was another merchant for the game. The can you win rupees? And then I was like, oh, well, there's more trees at the bottom. If you get through the Lost Woods area, there's like 4 trees down there. I wonder if I can put bombs there and make them explode. No.
I mean, if you get the blue candle, you can start burning some bushes and see what happens.
Yeah, but like I know this game's very heavy on secrets, and like, you know, I have my feelings about secrets. So I don't know. I feel like I would have gotten more and more frustrated if I kept going. So yeah, I don't know. It's not a bad game. It's just, I don't know. I think it's tough to come to today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, the first time I played this game was Wii Virtual Console, and I let myself get lost a little bit, but very quickly was like, okay, let's go to GameFAQs.com, and I played through the entirety of it with a guide next to me. And then, so I think part of me playing now, I've played through the game enough where I don't remember exactly which bush to burn, or I don't remember exactly which rock to blow up to find the whatever, but I remember like, oh, this somewhere in here I put a bomb, right? And then you just kind of do that until something happens. So I have that kind of piece with it, but I had a similar feeling with Mark when the timer went off. I was like, no, I just got started. Like I was right in dungeon 2. It felt exciting, like especially because I had found dungeons 5 and 8, and knowing they were difficult, I was still going to push forward anyway with 5 and 8, but I literally couldn't because I didn't have the raft to get across the thing I needed to get across. So when I found 2, I was like, okay, I know I can get through 2. Let's do this. And then the timer went off. But Mark, what about you? Like at the end of dungeon 3, like what was your next thing? Like after you got done, the timer went off. What was your, what was the first game you played? I guess both of you. What was the first game you played after you spent 35 minutes playing The Legend of Zelda?
I can't remember if I think that was when I jumped into Ghosts and Goblins. I think I think it was after that. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
But I realized when my time was up and that happened, I was like, oh no. But at the same time, I'm like a teeny bit relieved because I realized that like you don't, whenever you die and restart, yeah, it's cool. It restarts you at the entrance at a dungeon, but it doesn't restart your items that you used. And that's where I think this game is a little hard to get back into because without a guide, there's no way of hinting at you that each square on this map has a secret. So you would constantly have to farm rupees to buy bombs or whatever, and you have to like try every single pixel in each map. It's just like I don't have that time.
The blue candle's tough because like the blue candle, I knew like, ooh, there's a bush here somewhere I have to burn, and I'm like, it's this one, right? And when it's not, with the blue candle, you can only use one per screen, so you have to leave the screen and come back just to make it work. Matt, what was the first thing you jumped into after playing Zelda?
I can transition us beautifully out of here if we're done.
Oh no, we're not.
Okay.
So, okay, then don't answer that question because I know where you're going. I stopped. I took a screenshot of the thing so I had like my picture of where I left off items wise and everything. And then I played more, dude. I jumped in and played through the rest of Dungeon 2. And
I did like a little bit after, but like I didn't know. I was like I couldn't count it, but yeah, I played a little bit more after just to see if I could get back to the boss, and like I found the shortcuts to get back, but I was like, oh shit, I don't have anything. And I was like, okay, I'll stop here.
My general takeaway of this 35 years later was, and I want to hear you guys like your kind of final piece, but I had this feeling. So when I first came out of the first dungeon, I beat that first dungeon boss and I emerged victorious. The way the dungeon theme loops throughout, and Matt, it sucks I'm sorry that you didn't get this experience because the dungeon theme is so
I didn't expect to find a dungeon because I knew this game. I know the layout of this game.
I'll give you a hint in case you do decide to jump back into it. The first dungeon is
I was going to talk about that.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
All right. Follow the bridge. But the way the dungeon theme loops and just kind of pulls you into the madness of the world beneath Hyrule, right? Like you are sucked into something dark and deep underneath there. It feels hypnotizing in a way where you get like in a trance playing this. So when I defeated it and came back up and the overworld theme played and the lights came up and everything was suddenly, the brighter color palette, I felt like, like I did something. Like I felt like I had actually accomplished something in that way, where especially playing it with a guide the first time around, I don't remember having that same feeling of like, because it was just checklist, where this, like, I loosely knew how to get back to dungeon 1, and then when I did find it and make my way in and work your way through every room, meticulously finding the map and the compass and defeating the boss and coming back out, like I was like, ooh, like I felt good about it. But again, like the kind of like the contrast between the dungeon visually and audibly, like what you're listening to and seeing, I think it made me feel something good. Like, it feels like this game still 35 years later feels like an actual adventure, right? In the truest sense. Like, you can still get lost in it the way I could with Breath of the Wild. What give me some key takeaways, Matt?
I mean, one of the things that stood out to me, like I was getting little pieces of it, like, as frustrating as it was, I was learning as time went along. Like, I made the mistake the first run. I pretty much tried to Gascoigne run this game without the sword, like you can in Bloodborne. But like, all right, I made the mistake. I went and got the sword, but then like, I kept getting hit. But then I accidentally discovered, oh, your shield's automatically up if arrows are coming in front of you. Cool. All right, I got a defense mechanism. Oh, the fairy, or like I think it's the fairy, gives you the power up to throw the swords. Like I was like getting it. It was just a matter of like, or I don't know if that was the power up or not, but like, I recognize like you can throw a sword at some points. I don't know when. Maybe I didn't know. But like, I found the secret area with like the fairy of the hearts in that little pond area. Like, all right, cool. If I'm in this area, I know I can get some more hearts up there. Like, I was learning. Is that sense of discovery that you see in a lot of games now. Like, not just Breath of the Wild, but like when you think of, Dark Souls is tough because I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. But when you go back to Bloodborne and you like learn about like, oh, well, like arcane builds are a thing, and like how to take down different monsters and maneuver the world, like, it kind of sucks that this is on the NES in a weird way, because it kind of starts to look samey and you kind of get confused with some of the map designs of like where you're at exactly without really knowing it. But no, like it's crazy that like so many principles that are being used today are still found in a game from 35 years ago that, maybe not for me, but still holds up to, just a great video game.
Yeah, I think another thing I did initially when I played it way back when was I knew that the original packaging came with a map. So I think I allowed myself, before jumping fully into GameFAQs, to just play with a map open up.
I was going to ask that about the map, because I didn't use one just in case, but I thought that was a thing.
I'll find you the good stuff. I'll send it to you after this in case you do want to jump back in. Mark, what was your kind of big takeaway from this 35 years later?
So I think, for the time that it came out, I can see why it's so, revered and admired and inspiring for that, because like for that type of game to exist at that time, I can't imagine too many like it. And especially when it's like Famicom was like probably knee deep within RPGs at this point, and a lot of them didn't really focus on exploration in that sense. It was just more about like traveling an overworld, getting into turn-based battles, but that's all it really was. You were just trying to get from point A to point B. Yeah. And even though like, for this specific segment, I was doing point A to point B, but this game is more so about taking your time and really seeing this world, through and through. But the fact that I played it a different way, I think also holds true to like how versatile this game is. Like, I've seen speedruns where they've made it so far without using a sword at all.
Yeah.
And like, that's cool. And you can see how Breath of the Wild kind of also takes that approach where you can get right to the end of the game, right from the very beginning if you really want.
Yeah.
And like, there's going to be some limitations with that, but it's cool that it still gives you the option. And I think that is its most, I think that is its biggest quality. For me now, like, so like having to like see all that, I still think it's a little hard to recommend to people if they want to get into the series. Just if you're not used to something like this, because like, even though I like using the items, movement is probably my biggest challenge, because just how directional it is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, I would love just a Link to the Past horizontal swipe right about now. But but if you want to be more optimistic about it, that's just another challenge that you just learn to get used to. And sure, I mean, it doesn't break the game in any way either. Like, it's not that awful. It's just just what I'm used to now. It's just different taste.
Oh
but,
yeah, we are very spoiled in these modern times. But yeah,
but back then, I can see how that is so good.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
So
we did,
and I was gonna say like the guide that I used for I think a guide is half of this game, and I didn't realize that upon my first time ever playing this was on Animal Crossing on GameCube.
Oh yeah,
and you have those little NES games. That was my first time playing this game, and I mean I was having fun with it, even though I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh, okay, I just didn't know where to go. But yeah, I used that new like the one that like Philip Summers made, the hand drawn game guides or whatever.
Yeah,
that was like hard to acquire. It has its own like map that you can take out and look at, but it also has like little tips inside on like.
That's cool.
If there's like little secrets and stuff. Yeah. I didn't use it too much. I try to like, I just needed to know, because I had an idea where the second dungeon was, but I didn't know exactly where. So I just needed that. I just need like a quick GPS for a second and whatever.
I can't remember where it is now. Like I got there, but I don't remember at all how I got there. And yeah, that I think the neat thing is like there's so many different approaches. The same thing with Breath of the Wild. Like we had a lot of these discussions around that game that I think you can have about the original game, and what made that game so special is like we could all play it completely differently and they're all totally valid. And I like that you've got that versatility with the game. I think you could just play it and never look anything up and just let yourself get lost. You've got to be patient and you've got to be diligent and whatever. But yeah, at one point I thought about, and I've tried this with Metroid also, and I end up like just losing interest or fading away from it. But actually drawing your own map as you go along, I think is a really cool idea. But it's also like, that's a project, man. Like that is a project. But I think it'd be cool to have your own kind of like map drawn out where you know where each burnable bush is, each cracked rock, all of that stuff. And then you do second quests, and then it's all thrown out the window anyway. So from when I got done, and I played more of it, obviously, but my ultimate feeling was like, man, I want more Breath of the Wild. Where did you guys, what was your, like, did you have a gravitational pull towards anything after the game?
It made me want to revisit Link to the Past, because that was the first, I mean, maybe I played Ocarina first for a little bit. I never really owned the Zelda game until I think Twilight Princess, so I don't even think I own that now I'm thinking about it. Anyway, but like one of the first ones I played was A Link to the Past. That was like one of my first, probably my first experience, at least with a top-down Zelda. And like I remember, like I didn't play much of it, but I remember making progress. So the game must point you in a direction. So I kind of wanted to, like, if anything, maybe not this game. I don't think this game is my cup of tea. But maybe pulling out my SNES Classic and revisiting A Link to the Past is something I could potentially do later on.
That's on Switch Online, too, for the SNES collection.
I'd rather play with the actual SNES controller, though. That's the thing.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, anything else on Zelda 35? You guys that I haven't asked the right questions for yet?
How many times did everyone die?
Oh, yeah, good.
I don't know. Does it say on your on the save?
Yeah, there's a number underneath. For the longest time, I didn't know what that
it might
was,
be interesting to see. Hold on.
I just love that Zelda always keeps that like in your face, no matter which game. It's like,
yep, it always
just to remind you.
Yeah.
I think mine was 7.
I think I had 6 or 7. I was keeping count and then lost count, and then the only time I actually saw the save screen that told me the number, it was after my 35-minute time. You know what I mean? Like because I kind of just paused the game, took notes on everything, and then went back to it. At that point, it was 13, but I think the initial was 6 or 7. Through that first thing.
Oh, and like my favorite thing when you do get a game over is that music. But like it's like not really eerie, but it's just like almost kind of like soothing or calming, as if it's like playing like out of like a music box.
Yeah.
Wait,
where would it say that, Mark?
When you go to your save file, there's a number underneath your name or something like that.
Oh, I must have force quit out of this because it's 0. It is definitely not 0.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I think you have to save it after you get a game over to
I
keep
didn't.
that progress.
If anything, I would have suspended it, but I don't think I suspended it. I'll double check.
But like there's this game over theme. I would listen to like these guys who would like remix NES songs, and they would like give them a beat and like rap about them. Mm-hmm. And like when they added like that part, they didn't rap over, but they just gave it a beat, and I always add that beat in my head whenever I hear it now. It's like I love it.
So when I wrap this up, my next thing was The Legend of Zelda. I played more of it, but Matt, what did you jump into after The Legend of Zelda?
I actually stuck with the Switch and booted up Splatoon 2.
There it is. We all played some Splatoon 2 this week. Speaking of games we all played, Mark and I played a bit one night. We did some Salmon Run. We met our new friend Grak. Matt and I jumped into League battles, and it was me, Matt, and a bunch of people from Japan. So yeah, how's Splatoon 2 going for everybody in the wake of the Splatoon 3 announcement? That's what got us all scratching the itch again, right?
Oh yeah,
Splatoon 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So what's the week of Splatoon 2 been like?
I'm gonna miss the green and pink colors. I'm not a big fan of yellow. I'm just gonna lead off with that. Rip pink and green.
Yeah.
But that's all right. Maybe an arms appearance might come in Splatoon 3. Who knows? Dude, you kind of forget how fun this game is. And besides having to listen to Sheldon on fast forward for what felt like a half an hour because I haven't played it in a while. It's been a fun experience. I never played the story mode, never did the DLC, still not doing that, just jumping into the League play stuff because I always thought the game modes were better than Turf War, and I'm having a lot of fun. I'm trying to reprogram my brain with finally using like the dual splatties, like all that stuff. Still like struggling, but I'm just I'm like keeping an eye on what guns, or I guess whatever you want to call it, what weapons are killing me a lot, and I'm like trying to like sample them in the test area and then trying to run with them in a couple different modes, and I'm having some success. I did not know about the Booyah Bomb. I died to it a lot of times, and then actually just today, after playing The Legend of Zelda, I got a weapon that has the Booyah Bomb, and then discovered what that bomb really is, and just want to use that for forever now, so I can only use weapons that have a Booyah Bomb.
Yeah, that's... I really, really like that special. It's funny you mentioned you have zero interest in the single-player stuff, because I feel like, Mark, your initial drawback to this game was that you never finished the single-player or the DLC. Or you did finish single-player, but not DLC. Is that right?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I didn't. I think I'm in, like, World 3 or something of single-player. But, yeah, I never finished it. But I've always wanted to, and I never bought the DLC, and I do want to.
Yeah.
It was weird because, like, last time I played it, maybe I just don't have a great memory, but I always loved the game conceptually, but, like, for some reason, like, I just couldn't get used to the controls. Like, there was a missing link for me for some reason, like, trying to adapt to this game, and I just couldn't figure out what it was. Like, something with, like, the aiming and the shooting just always felt off to me. Like, I just wasn't in sync with this game at all. And then
the one thing that threw me off too, I'm sorry cutting you off, but the one thing that always threw me off was playing so much Breath of the Wild at the beginning of the Switch's lifespan, and then this game came out, and they had the jump button from Breath of the Wild is the map button for Splatoon, and I think vice versa for, like, so that always broke me. But yeah, the aiming, like, are you finding, like, it any better now or still?
So, like, that's the thing, like, when we played, it, like, for some reason just clicked. Like, everything felt like it was moving faster to me. Like, everything felt like it was more intuitive. I felt more, it felt like I just, like, it was like riding a bike again or something, like, as if, like, I clicked with it before. But it felt so second nature. And I was just amazed by that. Like I wasn't thinking about it anymore. I was like, oh, like right with this weapon, I kind of gotta like aim like this, and like some weapons I did get reminded of like how they work, but just like moving around now and whatever. Like Salmon Run was a good wake up call of like a giraffe being born and getting kicked as soon as it's out of the mom. It's like you better move. And I was like, okay, I get it, right, I can do this. Okay, cool. But then when we were doing Turf War, because the way I approach things, I need to take time. So like I appreciate Turf War. That's my favorite at the moment, just because I haven't dipped my toes enough in the other game modes. I'm sure I will like them, but I think I gotta like at some point I'll just ease myself into
Clam Blitz. Where is that?
Oh, Clam Blitz is so good, dude.
Yeah, like stuff like that. I just need more time with to feel good about them. That's pretty much that. But yeah, just I don't know. Everything just worked this time for some reason. It feels like I'm playing a different game, and it's just a solid experience now.
I like that. I like that happened.
I was gonna say I love the difference in approach between me and Mark. Where Mark, it felt like he was back on the bike, and meanwhile I'm trying to break the bike to make it go in a different direction or something because I'm trying to change my play style.
Yeah, it's like I'm back on a bike I never rode.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that same inclination that Matt did of like maybe I'll change weapons, but then like when I did, I just felt like I wasn't really. I think it's good so you're not relying, and I think also like any good like competitive game, knowing what the other pieces can do lets you better go up against them competitively. So spending time getting to know a weapon that you're not good with can help you combat that later on. But I didn't play ranked mode at all by myself. So when I've been playing alone, I've just been doing Turf War, and then when Matt and I did the league battle stuff and we're doing the ranked style, those different game modes, I forgot how much fun those can be. We only had Rainmaker the night we played, and it's like at first like we were kind of getting wiped quite a bit, but we're also like getting our feet wet again. Like we're like, right, this is how you. And then like by the end of it, like we were. I think I said this is the last game, like 5 games in a row. Yeah. And then like we just kept going because it was like, nah, we could do one more.
3 minutes is addicting.
It's a ton of fun. Yeah, I still like Mark and I. Well, all 3 of us when I played with either of you, we were on Discord because that's the only logical way to communicate with it. But I also just hate that like when Matt and I did the league stuff, it was easy enough because you can easily pair up and jump in together. If the 3 of us wanted to do that, we probably wouldn't be able to. I don't know if we could do the 3 of us and then have a 4th jump in or not. I don't know if that would. I don't think it would. Yeah.
It's not how league play works. Nope. It's 4-2.
But with Mark and I, when we were jumping into Turf War, it was like, all right, Mark, you go, and then I'll try and join you. And then it was like, I get a 3-minute timer while I wait for Mark to run through a thing because it didn't connect us quickly enough. And then then we jump in. Then we were paired up, and I think we were on the same team every time. But I know there's definitely been some moments where, like, I remember when Matt and I were playing a whole bunch a couple years ago, where we would go to do some Turf War, and we'd end up on opposite teams. It's just.
I remember that. Yeah, we definitely dealt with that.
Yeah.
Just
and
lobby
I see
up.
there is the.
There
is that thing that's like you can join up with friends. Like there is that option, but I don't remember what it does. Because there's a private one where you can just make a private thing for you and your friends, and there's another thing where you can lobby up with your friends, but you have to use the app in some way, and it was just like, no, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
So what's next for Splatoon 2 and you?
I'm gonna cautiously kind of keep dipping my toe in, playing the ranked stuff. It's funny because you mentioned the app. I actually opened that app for the first time. I actually had like blow the dust off the actual app icon on my phone, but like I actually opened it and forgot how good the Splatoon part of that app is, about like telling you what the scheduled maps are, what's the mode, and I like all the dumb things of like how much you've inked, all the career stats. Like me and Joe were talking about that one time in the league battle where we actually did like really good, and it didn't say the spot. It just gave us like the bronze medal thing or whatever. I forget what the placements are for that. But like we were able to see what our like power rank or like the equivalent of an MMR like matchmaking rating was for that, and compared it to where we were then. We're like, oh, well, this isn't good, but we're learning. So like, I just love that all the historical value that app kept throughout the entire lifespan of this game. And I still like using it for the schedule, because like today, like I don't know what I'm going to do today, but I might take a peek at that app to see what time is a good time to hop in if Clan Blitz pops up or something.
Yeah, I think it's, Mark, you jumping into any of the single player stuff soon?
It seems like it's in the near future for sure. Like I obviously, I don't want to force it either, but no, I mean, like I think almost daily I'm always thinking about it at some point, but it just kind of hangs out in the back of my mind, like, hey, Switch, Splatoon, just got to get into that, Yeah. So I want Splatoon to become a habit. That's where I want to get, and like, see, now for people that know me, I'm not that much of a competitive player.
Yeah.
And this is another one of those few games where it's like, I actually don't mind it. Like, even if I lose, I'm, at least right now, maybe I'm speaking too soon, but like, because I haven't done ranked or anything or like league, but for right now, for what I'm doing, losing doesn't stress me out. Like, it's just whatever. Like, I'm not taking it, I guess, as seriously this time around either. So maybe that has another factor in it. But I don't know. Like, it's just fine all around.
I feel like even when we were doing the league stuff last time around, I don't remember us getting too bent out of shape when we didn't do well. There's disappointments, obviously, but like not like some other games where it's like, okay, I'm gonna go break things now. Like there was never any of that with Splatoon.
And honestly, I think that the time of the matches plays a lot to that. Because like
time, it's so quick to be over. And like again, like a Dota match, like you've been playing a lot of that. Like you spend almost an hour of your time, and then like when you lose, especially when you lose because somebody was an idiot. Mm-hmm. It sucks. Where this, I think you're right. The 3-minute thing, and then one thing Matt pointed out when we played the other night is because I forgot about that league power ranking and like how I was like, is that like a quarter? I forget what it is. Matt's like, no, it's 2 hours. So like as good as you do, it's 2 hours, and then you could be at the bottom of the list again, depending on how you performed with the next whatever. So like the fact there's no like strong sense of permanence, like there is, right? Like you can rank up and you can do the like rank X stuff or whatever the heck they did down the line for the more serious players. But I don't know.
Like it's like that mixed with like the maneuverability too, like being able to actually like swim through the ink, I think also plays a big part with this whole thing where it's like, all right, if you're having a bad time, you can feel at least like things are moving a little quick, so it's not as sufferable. Like as much as I like Halo, it sucks when you're losing in Slayer and you have to wait for somebody to reach 50 points or wait out like the 15 or 20 minute time or whatever it is. And it's like,
oh, dude, in Dota, like 15 minutes in, you lost the game, but the game goes for 40 minutes. There's nothing you can do about it.
And you can't quit unless you get penalized. And it's...
Yeah, exactly. And I think the thing about Splatoon too, especially when Turf War, you can do it as well, but like in the ranked modes, like even if you're like not doing good like head to head, like you're just not getting the splats or whatever, like you can like kind of go off the map and do one of two things, like create a path if you're playing Rainmaker or Tower Control or whatever. Yeah. Kind of help your team that way, or just like ink enough things to get your power up, which might like kill 2 or 3 people and kind of completely turn the tides of that game. Because I mean, it happened to us. Unfortunately, we never had it go in our favor, but like we had a game of Rainmaker that ended in 10 seconds because we got like wiped and 2 people went ahead, and So, like, the cool thing about those modes, maybe besides Tower Control and Splat Zones, is a lot of those games can end in 30 seconds, even if you, like, if you were dominating the entire game. And I think there's a lot to that, where that comeback can be very real in even in these short little games. Like, if you're 3/4 of them, you're getting dominated, you can easily come back.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I'm excited to play more of that there's Splatoon 2. I'm curious to see as we get deeper into it if we can find a fourth to do some 4-player league battle, or what that looks like in the future. So if you're listening and you want in, podcast@thefreecheese.com. And if you've got a Nintendo Switch and you're looking for something else to play because you've already burned through The Legend of Zelda and Splatoon 2, maybe you'll be ready for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 coming to Nintendo Switch later this year. And if you can't wait until later this year, maybe you'd be excited to know that it's coming to PS5 and Xbox Series XS on March 26th. For PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, the game will run at 120 FPS at 1080p or 60 FPS in native 4K. If you are a Digital Deluxe Edition owner, this will on Xbox One or PS4, you automatically get an upgrade. Otherwise, you pay the $10 difference to upgrade to the Digital Deluxe Edition and get the new version. Yeah, Tony Hawk, man. I'm ready for that on Switch. I've been ready for that on Switch for a while. So I'm excited about that one. Still very... I wonder if they'll do 3 DLC or if that's just gone now, with Vicarious Visions being not necessarily.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
it might be a bit.
Yeah. Time will tell. We've around the same time of the original Tony Hawk release, not this most recent one, but the PlayStation 1 game, we were all finding ourselves with small little friends in our pockets. And Mark has brought one back to life here in 2021 with the newest in the line of Digimon Adventure Digidevice. Hot out of Japan, Mark. Tell us about this little guy. You sent me videos of it, and I'm fascinated with it.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to the, it kind of stays in vein with like the old Digimon V pets that people might have been used to, like Tamagotchis. But this one isn't really about taking care of the Digimon. You don't have to raise them exactly. There's no training. I mean, there's fighting enemies, but there isn't like just one-on-one, like you just training them. And there isn't no feeding. You don't have to clean up poop. You don't have to worry about them dying. You don't have to keep re-rolling your Digimon to unlock new forms. This is more true to the current anime that's running. And it's like, the naming is so weird with it because it's just called Digimon Adventure and then there's a colon after Adventure. You don't pronounce it, so it's just Digimon Adventure, which is confusing to say out loud, so I feel like you have to add the year that it came out, which is 2020 or whatever, just so people know what you're talking about. But
you think are they intending to do like Digimon, like this is the Digimon Adventure Digivice? Are they intending to do Digimon Adventure the card game, Digimon Adventure the anime, like is that the idea?
I think it's only just with this because it's taken directly from that anime.
Okay.
Or else it would just be just Digimon.
Yeah.
But like this, but the way this plays out, like, you have it, like it makes you feel like you have to pick a partner when you first boot it up. So you either have like the main two of the whole series. It's Agumon, which is like the Pikachu of the whole series, and then you have its equivalent, which is Gabumon, which is just like a dog with a horn on its head. And so like you pick one or the other, but it doesn't really matter because you can switch between them at any time. And then like you go into like this world exploration mode. I don't know what to call it, but it's like this weird little like serpentine thing of like path of squares, and each one is a fight that you have to do. And you just go, and it kind of follows the events of the anime based on like what you're fighting. And for each partner, for each partner Digimon that you're using, they each have their own like record of like how many wins that they've done. And once you reach a certain amount, you unlock the option to Digivolve to a higher level. So like maybe it takes 10 wins to like 5 or 10 wins to get the next form, but then you'll now look at that record page and it will say, instead of just like a win screen, it'll be like wind with like a Roman numeral 2, and now you need like 15 extra like extra wins to get the next one. So I feel like it's always going to be doing that. So there's going to be some grinding involved, but the battles themselves are so short that you can actually just skip over the whole thing and just get the results after the fact. It's cool to watch little animations, and it's cool to like watch it like all light up the different colors like corresponding to your partner. Like they each have their own color and everything, and so like that's neat. And
because this is all on a postage stamp sized LCD screen, right? Like this is for people. I mean, you sent me videos of it, but for people who haven't seen one of these, like it is. Imagine like the little Tamagotchi style. Like it is a handheld device that has a small LCD screen where all of this takes place, and then the colors like lighting up to match the Digimon are really cool.
And which also is very synonymous with the show, because it acts kind of the same way, uses like similar sound effects and all that. And I was like, it's pretty cool. So I didn't get too far. Like you saw the videos, I just made it the World 2. But because of that, maybe like 2 fights into that one, I now have 4 partner Digimon now. Like I acquired 2 more, but because those 2 are brand new, if I want to catch them up to get their forms, I now probably have to retread old ground, go through those battles. So maybe to try to keep everyone, like at a similar level, and everybody can be just as strong. And so like I could see where that's where the longevity of this game is going to come in, because I think there's going to be 8 partners total.
That's cool. It's cool you can get them all in one run, all on the same device.
Yeah,
like,
now...
which sounds novel because it's... not novel, but like, it sounds silly for me to say that because when we're used to like a video game, like, yeah, of course you would be able to do that, but I'm still blown away that like this small little handheld pocket device has this much intricacy built into it. You know what I mean? A partner system, retread, like worlds you can fight in. Like that's super cool. This is really, really cool.
It's like it's simple in terms of like comparing to V-Pets. It's kind of simple from where it's being compared to, but at the same time, I think it excels in what it's trying to focus on with like the combat aspect of it. Even though the combat is all RNG, like you just watch them take turns shooting fireballs at each other and see how much damage that does. You can get extra like power-ups randomly throughout playing this, and that can also help you randomly to like they're kind of like quick time events in a way. Like I don't know the name of them because everything's in Japanese and there's no way to change it to English. But like one of them looked like a bow and arrow, and just randomly it'll say like chance attack, and then you have to like mash like the confirm button as much as you can to build up that power to see how strong it is. And in the beginning of each fight, it also gives you an option, like a wheel will spin, like filling up a meter, like in a ring, and you got to try to stop it on a complete ring, so your damage output will be at its max when you do this RNG fight.
Oh, okay.
So like no matter what, like everything is always going to be a gamble. So I guess that also adds to the longevity of it, because I guess they just don't want you just completely sweeping through it. But it will, like the anime, it will follow some events to where I feel like you're almost guaranteed to win at some points, because you might get a form that you probably aren't supposed to have right away. So you're going to be overpowered for just that fight, but you'll never have that form again until you actually like have to legit earn it later or something. And then like if you're not, and if you play this more than watching the anime, if you're a fan of it, it could potentially spoil some things that could happen. But it can't spoil too much. It can only spoil like what characters you would run into, or like what forms they could turn into. And that's if you have a close pulse on the whole franchise and everything. So it's whatever. But no, it's cool. It's I'm surprised that this was that it's approachable as it is, because I was thinking it was going to be a little more like a traditional V-Pet, and I'm awful with those. I can't taking care of things is fine, but that's always like, that's my least favorite thing to do in any of these Digimon games, and they always try to incorporate that in some way, and I love them for like trying to keep that root. But I'd rather just be more like combat centric or whatever. And I mean, I don't mind taking care of them, but I want it to be like, I don't know, not as taxing or punishing if you're not on top of it all the time, because it asks for so much attention, and it's like I can't be focused on a little LCD screen like every 5 minutes just anxiety, afraid that my Digimon's going to die from negligence. And it's like, it shouldn't be like that. But
have any of them done a thing where you can go from a core game? I guess we've talked about this before, but there isn't really a core game. But like the idea of like, I think it'd be super cool if by the end of this you could transfer what you've got on this Digivice to an app on your phone, and then maybe that talks to Survive when it finally comes out, or anything like. Have they done anything like that? That's kind of cross-platform.
Not to my knowledge. I don't think they've ever done anything like that. I think this year is the first time that they're actually having any type of product being tied to an app or vice versa, with that Vital bracelet coming out.
Yeah.
With a game though, that would be pretty cool. I think that's something I hope that they do eventually, because I actually really do like that idea where it's like maybe on your app you can like take care of them or whatever, kind of like with like Pokemon for like Heart Gold Soul Silver, like you had a little Pokewalker.
Old, not the Wii U one that we all know and love, but
like walk around with them and then put it back in the game, and it's like, yeah, cool.
I got that thing around here somewhere. Yeah, the little Pokewalker. Yeah, that was a really neat thing. Like you could have that, walk around with it, and whatever, do the game. Is this Wii U thing turned on anymore? No, I gotta get a new battery. I gotta get a new battery for my Wii U pedometer. Sorry, Matt. Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's out in. Can you buy that right now? Because when I was looking at the link you sent, pre-orders are over, and it does not seem like regular orders have begun yet. Is that right?
So, I got it through the Premium Bandai site, and that site is nothing but pre-orders. You will never be able to buy something post-release on that website. Now, because I assumed I got it from the American Bandai website, that I thought this was going to be like an English version somehow, but the anime is not even in English, so I don't know why I was expecting that. Probably because the Vital bracelet has an option to change language and like region. So I just kind of thought they all might have had something like that in some weird way. Maybe you have to like do a weird button press combination or something to like unlock a menu to whatever. But no, all I can do is turn off the sound and lights. So you can get it through like third party sites that maybe like, you know, that where they like are like specialty in like import products. You can always get it through those. Even if you don't like Digimon, but you want other Japanese imported stuff, and you're good at navigating it. I think there's a site called Nippon Yasan, I believe is the name, and it's hyphenated. That one's pretty good. That's where I got my Vital bracelet. Like I pre-ordered it through that because American Bandai site doesn't have that Vital bracelet as even an option. So yeah, either that or like maybe some weird eBay store that's like similar to those sites, but that can be tricky. I don't know.
Yeah, I just didn't know if Bandai was like actively selling these things now or not, but yeah.
Yeah, it's only through a pre-order thing, which sucks. And you have to wait like 6 months after the fact, because I ordered this back in like last summer.
Yeah. No, I remember. Yeah, I'm getting like a second wave of that Digimon excitement from you, and like I'm feeling it too for you. And I'm like, even as you're going over this, I'm like, man, why does it feel like Thanksgiving? I'm like, oh right, because Black Friday is when you got the cards. Like that was the last time we had this kind of like pop, and I'm like, it's not Thanksgiving, it's February, March. Even. Yeah. It also is the 25th anniversary of Pokemon. And Friday we got a little surprise Pokemon Direct. So I guess why don't we open with what we didn't get, Matt?
Fuming. Still fuming.
Still. The time of recording, we're just north of 24 hours since Matt's been had his heart ripped out and stomped on by Ishihara over there at the Pokemon Company. But yeah, no Pokedota announcement. What is that game called? Because I can't
it's
not
Pokemon Unite.
Pokemon Unite. Okay. Yeah, nothing there. But you did catch that there's a beta coming to Android.
Yeah, Android only in Canada in March.
Okay,
yeah. The only reason I stumbled upon that was because I was trying to make a joke, but we did find out some news about it, I guess, in the end because of that. So
yeah, so there's something coming. So while we didn't hear anything new about that, because I wholeheartedly expected us.
Me too.
I really was like, this is the right time for that. So the Direct started out with a Pokemon 25th celebration video that kind of went through. It was honestly, I think, contextually in the midst of that presentation, I felt like this video was a little long for what it was doing. Agree. But I think when you look at it as what it is a celebration of 25 years of Pokemon, I thought it was a really cool special video. And it set the stage for me, at least with the Direct, that there really have been so many different ways to interact with Pokemon in our lifetime. I mean, we're not that much older than Pokemon is. And actually, I think the original idea of Pokemon was circulating around the time I was circulating. So, you know, there's definitely, it's been around for as long as we have almost. And seeing how many different ways and options to interact with Pokemon was cool, I think, in that video. And before we jump into the announcements or anything out of that celebration video that stood out to you guys that you didn't like, or...
I laughed every time it just said anime. It's like anime.
Yeah.
Anime. Cards. Anime? Cards. Movie. Anime. It's like,
yeah.
I think you probably only needed to say anime and cards like maybe once.
Yeah, the one time.
Just let it keep going. But I get that it's an anniversary thing, and that's fine if you want to do like that. But I also just think it's kind of funny that like the most popular franchise in the world has to like it felt like it was trying to like introduce to you like what it is, and it's like,
yeah,
I know who doesn't know like if you know what Pokemon is, even if you don't play Pokemon, you know what it is.
There's always someone, I suppose. But yeah, it was very much like, I know. Who's your audience here?
It wasn't. I was kind of hoping they were doing something more like. I mean, I love the visual style of it. I think that was it was really creative. Like I don't want to diminish it, but it got me thinking about their last anniversary-ish type, like when they were first introducing Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
Or like the other thing where everything was just like kind of more like cinematic and whatever. Like it felt like a little like mini movie type piece.
Yeah.
Even for, like I think they did it for the 20th, right? Where they had like the football players and like other stuff,
yeah.
or whatever, or like a turn in, or no, I guess it was because of Sword and Shield. They were making more like it was just more like real world type stuff, as if like this is a real existing thing.
Yeah, I kind of like just kind of like dumping it. Like, yeah, especially I remember the Sun and Moon ones where they were.
It was like a kid. He
moved to a new town, and like he made friends because of Pokemon. Like that was cool.
I like those.
Yeah, Matt, anything from the 25th celebration video?
I kind of I got into that stream late. So I think I turned it on just in time for the Game Boy Advance games when they were going through that part of the timeline. Yeah. And then the other half of it I missed because the video kept lagging. So
you did not miss that, Mark, watching it live. We were watching it live, and like it just kept stuttering every 4 seconds and freezing, and then eventually it crashed on us by the end.
It was cool to see stuff that I didn't know existed either.
Yeah, there were a lot of little peripherals and things I had no idea.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like, they have done it, but it's wild to remember like just how far they've branched out and done so many weird things of like, Detective Pikachu. I kind of forgot about Detective Pikachu for a second. I was like, right, they did that, and that turned into a movie, but that's like a visual novel for a Pokemon game. Like, it's so weird what branches they've gotten into in 25 years.
Yeah, like Pokemon Snap, which we got a new trailer for with more footage. We got to see a little bit. I don't know. They kind of introduced, I think, for the first time the region, the Lentil region. They showed off the professor and some of the buddies you get to pal around with. Game's still set to arrive April 30th. It looks good. Where are you guys at with Pokemon Snap? Are you in? You out?
It depends how much it is. I don't think I'm going to drop $60 on this.
$60, I bet you.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to drop $60 on this because, Snap's not that long of a game when you really think about it. I don't see this one being that long of a game either.
Well, that was the thing about this, though, because I'm with you, but then this one showed where, like, you could, by capturing a picture of a Venusaur mid-jump into a splash, you get a 4-star. Like, I think that might be your longevity is, like, different areas or, like, the way that you were throwing different items to get Pokemons to react differently. That might be where they pad it out a bit, but
Because it's all about like retreading with different tools and just seeing what you can do.
Yeah. And then, like, once you get a tool from the 5th level, and you come back to the 2nd level and unlock the alternate track because you use that item on a
and then you get to go to Blockbuster and print these all out. And
Yeah.
We saw there was a kind of a sizzle reel of Pokemon Day events that are happening in all of the current Pokemon products. So there's, stuff happening in Sword and Shield, stuff happening in Pokemon Go, stuff happening in Cafe Mix, stuff happening in Pokemon Masters. I think those were the 4. So if you're playing any of those current games, there's surely something for you. I know for me, I redeemed my Pikachu that knows Sing in Pokemon Sword, because that's a thing happening right now. I think it's Pika Muse. I don't remember. Go to the Pokemon website. You can find the little mystery gift code and pump it in. And then we got announcements of... It's funny, like that Diablo 2 remake we called the worst kept secret in video games. I wouldn't say this is the worst kept secret, but it's definitely like, well, duh. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Pokemon Shining Pearl are set to release on Nintendo Switch later this year, remaking the 4th generation of games. These were not the way I expected them to look visually. They're doing something different, and Pokemon Company was very quick to point out that Game Freak is not the lead developer on this. I don't know if that was like, hey, I don't know. That seemed odd to me that they were not. You know what I mean? Like any of the other remakes that we've seen, it's always been like in the current engine for the games, right? When you look back through any of them, like Fire Red, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, like they were always done in the contemporary engine by Game Freak as sort of the next. They were treated as if they were the next entry in the Pokemon series, where this, marketing wise, they will surely put this thing out this fall as the next entry in the Pokemon series. But I don't know, man. It looked different. The art style looked very different.
It wasn't too far removed from that Ever Crisis game from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's very much like that. It still has like the 3D chibi kind of thing going for it.
Yeah, I think it was just trying to be very one-to-one with its original source. Just like translate it into 3D. And it's like, I could see where they're coming from, but it worked on the DS for a reason like that, just because it was, the rest of the games were already like that, and it had to be that style. In an era where you can pretty much have it, you can have it look however you want it, and they still kind of went with that. Seems a little alien.
Yeah.
Like at first, like it's a little weird, but at the same, I don't know, it's whatever.
My thing that I like is whenever I see something like this that makes me feel weird, I'm always more happy in the end. Like that Ghosts and Goblins, it looked, the first time I saw it, I was like, this looks like crap. This looks awful. And then the more I look at it, I'm like, huh?
Yeah, the trailer doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, the more I see it, the more I'm like, no, I kind of like it. So, I'm happy that I have a kind of a weird reaction to this, because at first I was like, I don't know if I like that art style, but I don't know. Do you guys have any interest in Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl?
I'm a original 151 man.
That's going to be a hard no from Matt.
Yeah, I never got into Diamond or Pearl. I just can't. I never liked their visuals.
How about, did you come back for Black White?
I wanted to, but no, I didn't.
XY.
Yes.
Y is what pulled you back in? Did you play Gen 3?
No.
Okay.
I skipped Fire Red. Fire Red, Leaf Green. Like the Game Boy Advance era, I just it just didn't seem that appealing to me.
We were also at the age where we were starting to, be preteen teenagers, where liking Pokemon was definitely not cool.
Yeah, and like Fire Red just seemed unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't that long after the first 3 games that came out. It was like, why does this all right, like Johto, like Gold and Silver to me was like the height because it felt like 2 games in one. I was like, cool.
Yeah, and then we went back a step.
And I was like, all right, where are we going?
Fire Red was necessary for me to play as a ROM in college during my business class.
Yes, in that case.
Yeah.
So I did play Diamond. When I was graduating high school, everybody in my graduating class were playing their DSs under their graduation gowns and battling while we were on stage and all that crap. And then, but I didn't have a DS at the time. And then I ended up getting one a little while after and got Diamond and played all the way through it. And I think I liked it from what I remember. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was the first Pokemon game that I played beginning to end since Gold. And I liked it, liked my time with it. And then I think I got Fire. I think maybe that was the point where, like, you couldn't easily get Squirtle or any of those, you know what I mean? Like, my favorites in the game. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go buy Leaf Green. And I played through that to the point where I could import in the DS games.
Yeah, like that era of Pokemon was so good. Yeah. Because like Fire Red, Ruby Sapphire, Emerald, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like that, and then you have like Platinum, you have Heart Gold, Soul Silver. All those were they all shared the same art style and they were all compatible with each other because DS had the Game Boy Advance slot underneath. And just everything was just so like cohesive. And like it worked so well. I think that was like Pokemon at its best, probably. Like,
yeah, it was peak because you had again something for everybody, and like those core games were all So this, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm gonna jump in. Maybe we'll see. But
it's weird that they just didn't do Platinum.
I mean, yeah, I guess you gotta sell 2 copies, I guess. I am far more intrigued, however, by the final game that the Pokemon Company announced, Pokemon Legends. Now, they were saying Pokemon Legends Arceus. I've always pronounced it Arceus. Am I incorrect?
Yeah. It's one of those GIF situations.
Interesting.
It is Arceus. But
all right.
Arceus to me just sounds so much better.
I am a man of the original 151, so I do not know.
Well, Matt, this is the original. Arceus, like, he's like the god Pokemon, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Essentially, yeah.
So this game, if you did not see the direct, you should go watch this trailer. But Pokemon Legends Arceus is set in the Sinnoh region, same as Diamond and Pearl, but set during ancient times in the Sinnoh region, where you play as a trainer. You're given, this is kind of cool, your starter choices are 1 of 3, still the same types, but they're 3 starters from 3 different generations. And then it's open world, wandering through. It looks like the Breath of the Wild Zelda game that everyone's been wanting. You wander, you throw Pokeballs in the wild, like it is the thing. How about Pokemon Legends Arceus? Because I am, knowing this direct was coming, I was like, all right, I am jumping into Sword this weekend. So I did jump in, and I'm 1 legendary bird from finishing that winter DLC. I got all the Reggies. I caught Calyrex and his trusty steed. I'm like almost done that. I'm having a good time playing through that again. But everything I'm doing in that open world style of the DLC, I'm ready for a whole game for that. So this is like, I'm in. Where you guys fall on Pokemon Legends?
I want to see more of this. This is probably the most intrigued I've been by, well, maybe not main series game, but like a Pokemon game in a while. That was a lot of just, like I said, it was very early on, but that was just a lot of empty land, which was part of my problem for the first Breath of the Wild game. So I want to see more, but I'm cautiously optimistic that I might actually play a Pokemon game on my Switch here. That's not Pokedota.
Whoa. Mark?
My first reaction to this was I think they're too early with showing this. I think it should have waited, let it cook a little bit. Because it's not a good first impression to me. I know what they're trying to do with it, and I like that idea. But if you're just taking it face value, I don't know. But like at the same time, I don't know how else they could approach this, because I think they want to do, obviously, like everyone's been wanting an open world Pokemon game, and I think that's a big deal. It's like a lot of high stakes are with that can divide so many fans if you go wrong with it. So I think this was the safest way to do it, was to use a pre-existing region, use pre-existing Pokemon with a new concept, see how it works. How can they, kind of like Half-Life Alyx, like you have to go back with like a familiar story or somewhere pre-existing, try a new thing with it, see where it goes, and if people like it, you can build upon that, making a better, improved version with the next like actual legit generation in the series. So I see this as like a testing ground overall. The style choice is a little weird. I can see why, like, and yeah, in order to make open world, I guess you need something a little more not as evolved, because it probably takes a lot of resources to make like a modern city with a lot of NPCs walking around and whatever. So I can understand having a teeny bit more of a primitive approach, even though it kind of looks like an in-between where like the buildings look like more like modern houses in a way, just with a weird like old Japan like skin on it. And the character designs, it's like they kind of look like ninjas, but then the kid still has a Mario hat, so that bothers me. It could have been anything else. Like the girl doesn't have a beanie; she has like a bandana. That makes sense. But then you have like Eastern European hat with that outfit. I don't know. It threw me off. But
I wonder if you can customize, because the one thing that Sword and Shield has done really well is like customize. Like last night, and this wasn't always, they've added more options now that I've beat the game, where like before I could only wear certain things at certain times, things like that in Sword. But now that I'm just out wandering the wilderness on my own, I can wear whatever I want whenever I want. So I wonder if that'll be a thing.
True, that's always
the one thing I'm kind of concerned about. Like there's no active when you connect to the wireless, like when you connect online in Sword in those open areas, it chugs hard, and there's no like, you see all these other players running around, but it's not real time where like you're actually in an MMO standing, against one another, but like it's giving you like a ghost image of someone else, and when you talk to them, that character gives you a random piece of food that you can use when you're doing the camping minigame stuff. So I wonder how much they'll do or not do in that regard for Pokemon Legends in an online capacity.
I heard it was, from what I saw people saying, I thought it was just going to be strictly a single player.
Which that's honestly what I want.
Yeah, and and that puts more focus into, that whole concept of what they're trying to do, because I think that's just going to be trying to do too many things at once, and it will just be a bad balancing act for them.
But the fact that it's all like in that notebook style, and you're building the first Pokedex, like I think that's a cool approach where like we get to build this like archaic Pokedex, and I will totally buy a real physical notebook, cool, stupid Pokedex thing. I think like a hand-drawn art book, that would be rad. I'll buy it too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pokemon.
The Pokeballs are cool looking. I like those like primitive designs.
Yeah,
it makes sense with because Gen 2 you had to make them from like different like nuts or whatever from the trees, and it's cool like seeing like a wooden Pokeball with like that clamp on it.
Yeah, I'm into this. I'm curious to see what more they have. So that's out early 2022, which is stacking up to be quite a time for Nintendo Switch there. So we'll see what happens.
That's a Switch Pro game. We all know it.
Yeah, it's got to be. I just hope that Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't slip into early 2022. We're going to bring this one to a close, but first, what are you guys planning on playing this coming week?
Dota grind's been real. Splatoon's back in my life.
Yes.
I guess I'll just say it. Call of Duty. New season dropped. I didn't talk about it because I did not play the Black Ops side of the new stuff, and there's been significant ads there, unlike in Warzone, so I was going to wait to play that and to give it a better point of view about it all. I don't know. I want to play something new.
Are you playing that on PC or PS4?
That's the thing. Good thing I have a PC, because I don't know if I would have fit on my PS4, especially because I like other games to be installed as well.
Yeah, they announced that you can now use your R3 button in the menu for Black Ops Cold War, or use the options section in Modern Warfare or Warzone to manage which content is currently installed, specifically if you are a base PS4 user with standard 500 gig hard drive, because with patches and updates and full installs, you were probably not going to have enough room to patch the game.
Unreal.
Yeah, I know. There's a game I'm borderline thinking about grabbing called Nausea that's out this week. It's like a roguelike version of the game Werewolf, if you guys have ever played Werewolf or Mafia. It's a bunch of you on a ship and one Nausea among you. And you got to figure out who it is. But each time you repeat the loop, it's got some 999 vibes to it, things like that. This seems intriguing. It came out in Japan last year, and I've been curious about a Western release. And here it comes, March 4th. But not without Loop Hero there on March 4th, which I forgot about until... Yeah.
That's how I'll be playing.
Yeah. Mark, anything else?
Yeah, I'll be back
week?
for that as well.
More than likely, I'll probably be dipping into Splatoon 2 as well. I'm still cracking at Mario 3D World.
Nice.
I'm now on World 4 with that. Interested to see how far I go before I get tired of it, but so far it's been a good snack between things.
I like that for a Mario game. Being able to jump into a world or two, a couple levels, not bad. I thought about checking out that Taxi Chaos game that came out. It's for Switch, PS4, and 5, and Xbox. It's like a crazy taxi style thing. I just don't know how well they pulled it off or not.
What's the soundtrack?
I'm gonna hear that. You know, I miss old Sega, so I don't know. Other than that, I wrapped up Resident Evil 3 last week, and then started that Rise of Tomb Raider again. I don't know if I'm in the mood for Tomb Raider, which sucks because I spent like 20 something on 2 Tomb Raider games to dive in, but whatever. They're there when I get there. I don't know. I'm gonna at least catch Articuno and see what the rest of that Pokemon game DLC is, and see what happens. Now I will truly be in the post game. I don't know. I caught all the Reggies and that was cool because there's a new electric one that I didn't know existed, and he shoots electrified spider webs at you, which is kind of rad. Yeah, other than that, what was the other one? Miyamoto. I talked about all those card games last week, and I forgot to mention one called Miyamoto that I bought on iOS. It's a Japanese indie dev whose name escapes me, but the game's called Miyamoto. It's a very kind of like pastel light art style that does the same kind of card battle approach where you've got a grid of card types fighting, and then your deck building and all the same kind of stuff I talked about last week. But it's been a fun mobile game. Got that for a couple bucks. Yeah. Outside of that, you can email us, podcast@thefreecheese.com. Spend 35 minutes playing Legend of Zelda and tell us how far you got. How many items did you get? How many Triforce pieces, etc. I might play some more of that this week too. You can follow us on Twitter. The Free Cheese is @SomeFreeCheese. Matt is @MattyAce131. Mark is @Aug_Mental. Podcast@thefreecheese.com is an email address. That's it. We'll be back next week with another episode. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listener, for listening. Bye.